na urushaji segei, yani urushaji hama pia haungefanyika, lakini hama ilifanyika jana na leo hii pia. Warusha mikuki wanajiandaa, akiwemo Julius Yego ambaye anatokea kitengo cha polisi, hali kadhalika Boniface Kilonzo ambaye ni mwanafunzi wa chuo kikuu, Duncan Kinyanjui na Metusela Kiprop, hali kadhalika Alexander Kiprotich. Kisha baadaye kutakuwepo na mbio za mita 400 kuruka viunzi kwa wanaume na mbio za mita 1500. Kama unavyoona wanariadha ndio hao tayari washaanza kujipanga, mita 400 kuruka viunzi. Twende kwa Daniel Wahome aweze kutupatia mengi zaidi. Tutakuwepo hapa kupatia mahojiano na wanariadha ambao watakuwa wameweza kufuzu katika mbio hizi za mita 400 kuruka viunzi. Kwako Daniel Wahome.
Thank you very much, Isaac Lemoka, trackside. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to day 2 of the trials for the World Championships and Commonwealth Games 2022. 2 events that will be live on KBC Channel 1. Well, the rundown for today is very simple. The events are going to start: the 400-meter hurdles, the 5,000 meters steeplechase, and the 5,000 meters, the steeplechase, and all that. So, weather outlook, as you can see, 21 degrees Celsius. The wind is at 11 kilometers per hour, 55% humidity, and you can see the athletes who are there as they line up for this. Well, it's just the 400-meter hurdles, and in the background you will see the javelin throw, 4 athletes in action: the 5K, the 3K steeplechase, the 1500, the 400, the 10K, the 800, and the men's and women's 100 meters. And now, the first event and alongside me is Beijing Olympics gold medalist in the 800 meters, Wilfred Bungay. Wilfred, welcome.
Thank you so much. I think really exciting day, as you have already said. It's the final day for the World Championships trials, and we expect a lot of excitement because, as you have just mentioned, with the lineup of the events that are going to be there today, it's really going to be a very good fireworks.
Well, the 400-meter hurdles is just about to start, and just to take you through the start list and the profile of the athletes who are going to be running. In lane 3, we are going to have Michael Musioka. Michael Musioka is a 110-meter hurdle. Is a 110-meter hurdler, so he's making his first attempt at the 400-meter hurdles. He's a shuttle relays double bronze medalist, and that is from the World Relays. In lane 4, we're going to have Moitalel Mpokena Dokila. He's got a personal best of 48.7 from Oregon last year, and he's done 48.84. He's inside the World Championship qualifying standards. But if you just take a look at Karsten Warholm, who does 45.96 as a world record, then you've got to know the call there. There is Musioka, who is in lane 2, the 110-meter hurdler. So now, next, inside of him in lane 3 is Wiseman Were. He's a bronze medalist at the 2022 African Championships in Mauritius, and he is also the double champion in the 110-meter hurdles and the 400-meter hurdles. Lane 4, after that, we've got Moitalel Mpoke in lane 4. So he is the under-20 silver medalist from the 2017, and then we also have got Rotich Kipkorir who are there. So the athletes getting onto their blocks now, ready for the start of the 400-meter hurdles. Ben, a run through this start list again: Musioka in 2, Were in 3, Mpoke in 4, Were in 5, and Kipkorir in 6. The start of the 400-meter hurdles for men. And off they go, and Mpoke is already off like an arrow off a bow as they go over the fast. Remember, the time required to qualify for the Worlds is 48.9 seconds. Mpoke already at the front, and it's that battle between Mpoke and just to his outside is Wiseman Were, and Mpoke catches up with Were with 200 meters to go. As they go round that bed, Mpoke has taken the lead. This is the track where he won a silver medal 5 years ago. 5 years. Time does fly. And now it's between Were. There was a starter there, and Already, Mpoke, again with a second standard, touches that. And Were, the African bronze medalist, is there. He makes his way forward, and he's beating the favorite. It looks like Mpoke has done well. Wiseman Were makes his way past the line, 49.09. Misses the world entry standard by 0.19 of a second. And taking second place is William Mutunga Mbevi.
Yes, and I think, just missing by few, let's say 110 of a second, is really not so good. But I think Wahome, these athletes, they need to be able to run few competitions, and I think if they had done it, because if they are able to run this kind of race, 49.01 in altitude, it means that if these athletes have done a chance for them to be able to run outside the country, then I think they could have done it well.
Well, and looking at the times, William Mbevi taking second place in 50.23 seconds, and at 50.51 was William Poke. And just to mention that this is a new personal best for Wiseman Were, 49.09. And Wiseman Were is trackside now at the mid zone with Isaac Lemoka.
And remember this.
Hii ameweza kuloa muda wake, alikimbia 48.84. Wiseman Were, congratulations. Hali vipi?
Salama.
Mbio zimekuaje?
Kwanza kabisa nashukuru tangia Mauritius kupata medali yangu kule. Nimekuwa nikiwazia jinsi ambavyo nitakimbia. Nashukuru Mungu kwa matokeo. Yeah.
Unaelekea Oregon. Je, unaweza kukimbia Oregon na pia upate fursa ya kukimbia katika mashindano ya Jumuiya ya Madola?
Naweza kukimbia, manake katika mashindano ya Mauritius nilifanikiwa kupata medali ya shaba, na hiyo inanipa motisha ya kuendelea.
Wakenya watarajie nini wakati tunaelekea Oregon?
Kenya tupo, and we are going to fight for it to get back home.
Thank you so much.
Asante.
Niko naye hapa pia na Dokila pia, ambaye ameshiriki katika mbio hizi za mita 400 kuruka viunzi. Congratulations. Mbio zimekuwa vipi?
Niko poa. So nilifika jana late, so mwili yangu ni mzito. So
changamoto ambazo labda umekumbana nazo leo?
Hakuna. Niko sawa, ni ile tu mwili imechoka. Hivyo tu.
Rise up from under 20, sasa uko kwa senior race. Unaonaje mashindano, na utuambie pia uko US umekuwa ukijitayarisha vipi? Umekuwa ukijitayarisha vipi ukiwa US? Wewe ulikuwa under 20 na sasa umeingia kwa senior. Sasa unaonaje vile umevuka in style?
To be honest, it's a great opportunity. I feel blessed, like transforming from youth at 20 to senior level, and I'm ready. So I had a good program, the school that I signed, so
So for the World and Commonwealth Games, what should we expect from you?
I don't want to talk too much about that, but time will tell. For now, I'm just going to prepare, going back to speedway, because I just recovered from an injury. I didn't make finals at NCAA. I got a groin injury, but right now I'm recovering, so I'm good.
Sorry for that. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Next up. Well, thank you very much. Isaac Lemoka. I'm speaking to as we take another look at this 400-meter hurdle race. The winning time 49.09 by Wiseman Were. It's a personal best time for him, and it takes him to 24th in the world this year.
Well, and I think mentioning about the hurdles, remember this that in the year 2020, that is Emmanuel Korir was able to win the World Championships, and I think we have a chance in this country. And looking at him, yesterday Wahome, we mentioned that World Championships is 21 days away to it, and I think that if they still some time only, these guys should have a chance to be able to go and make a qualifying time, because he looks like he's very ready. Because if you look at the seconds that he has missed, for the qualifying time, he still has a chance if he gets a race to be able to compete outside there.
Well, and here are the official results of the men's 400-meter hurdles. Wiseman Were 49.09, William Mbevi Mutunga, 50.23 seconds. Moitalel Mpokena Dokila, 50.51. Michael Musioka, 51.37. And Rotich Kipkorir, 52.2. So for Wiseman Were, William Mbevi Mutunga, they are all assured of places that are going at the upcoming Commonwealth Games. 49.09 is a time that every athlete would be proud of. Also happening right now, we've got the men's javelin throw, and we have got Julius Yego, who is making his throw right now. He needs 85 meters to qualify for the World Championships, and that goes in the mid-70s for him. His personal best throw this year has been 79.62. As for the javelin, the African champion, again, he's dominated that quite a lot. So that is one of his events. Alexander Kiprotich, 78.48, second best on paper, and now on an Olympic Solidarity Scholarship. And for you, Wilfred, as an Olympic champion, you know how important this is.
Yeah, I think for every athlete, those who always have competed outside there, being in the World Championships and the Olympics and the Commonwealth Games is very important, because that is where you make a mark for yourself as an athlete, that you are able to win Olympics and will be able to do this. And I think, again, talking about Julius Yako, we're happy that he's back here. After injuries, for the last 2 years, he has not been doing very well. And I think to see him back, again, it sends a message out there that Julius Yako is back, someone that was able to win a World Championships in the past. And I think, again, seeing him here, it's really a very good thing for the country and for the field events, because I know that this country right now, just the same way that I've done during the sprints, right now they are back in the field events, and having Julius Yako to go and represent us in Eugene, it will mean a lot.
Well, it's now time for Julius Kinyanchui to make his throw. He's got a 68.5 as a PB. And and remember, the next event is a women's 5,000 meters. So Kinyanchui, with his first attempt, that flies and just goes around just over 65 meters for him. And as you can see on the picture at the far end, the women's 5,000 meters is about to start also, with Helen Obiri as the defending champion. But on paper, the fastest Kenyan is Teresia Mudhoni Gateri, and she clocked 14 minutes 44.89 seconds. That is a personal best time for her in Oregon. And just taking at the look at the women's field, with Helen Obiri, who is the defending champion, Eva Cherono, PB of 14:30 at the Brussels DL and 15:53 in the Nationals. Beatrice Chebet, African champion, under 20 champion at all levels you think of in cross country. Lois Chemnung, Teresia Mudhoni, Daisy Cherotich, Gloria Kite, African champion. Caroline Yag is also expected. Mercy Cherono, 2014 Club Games champion. Stella Jepleting is also in that start list of the women's 5,000 meters. So it is a deep one. And Wilfred, your take on this field?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at Daisy Cherotich, who had decided to run the half marathon, the full marathon, she has got 66 in half marathon, and that means, she's good. As I said again yesterday, most of the Kenyan athletes that we have, they always make a choice because there are few 5,000 meters out there to be able to for them to compete, and therefore most of them, they end up doing the half marathon, and that's why Daisy has got a 14:56 personal best. That is for the 5,000, and I think just before there was a draw for the javelin, and I think when you mention about the javelin, we have guys who are doing very well, throwing about 70 meters for this country. It means a lot, and I think we have the lineup for the 5,000 now.
Well, so they are lined up, and also we've got Gloria Kite, 49.22 in the London Diamond League meeting in 2019. Season's best of 15:02.92 in Montreal, France, but she finished second at the Riyadh Half Marathon, 72:13, and fourth in the Rabat DL in the 3K, 8:41.81 was her time. But just taking a look at the times for Daisy Jerotich in the marathons, I finished 8th at the Rotterdam Marathon at 2:30:42, and also she was at the very fast Ras Al Khaimah half 60, and that is, picking up that 66:33.
Yeah, you remember this, that anyone who has done a longer distance in Wahome is that when they come back to the track, at least they have the mileage in their legs, so therefore they give them a lot of advantage. But mostly for them now, what they will need, and what I know that we are going to see today, especially with Daisy Jerotich, she would like to have a faster pace so that she has a chance to be able to qualify, because remember that it is 1, 2, 3 across the line for them to be able to represent the country during the World Championships, and that means she needs to make sure that the race is going to be fast. The reason why I say this, Wahome, is that she will avoid those who are kickers, because we know someone like Helen Opiri, Lois Chesang, those are very good kickers, and therefore she needs to make sure that the race is going to be a little bit faster. That is what happens.
So Julius Hiego with a throw that almost goes to 80 meters. That's where it is. That's very close to 80 meters. His personal best this year is 79.62 meters. And remember, the entry standard is 85. And yes, number one qualified for the Commonwealth Games. The qualifying time was 49.92. So that was Wiseman Wera. He's qualified for the Commonwealth Games. 49.92 the entry standard. That was in the 400 meter hurdles.
But remember, in the 400 also, we have Moitalel Mbole, who has Mboge, who has 48.70, and I think that is if it was done this year, then he has qualified for sure.
Actually, he did for Mpoke coming into this race. He had a 48.84, and that was when he won the Southern Conference Championship in May with that season's best time for him, and that means he's qualified for the Worlds. As the women get ready, in the next minute we're going to have the start of the women's 5,000 meters. Again, the full field. Helen Obiri is the defending champion. She's got a wild card for that, which she can opt to take if she's going to double in the 5 and the 10 like she did at the Olympics. There is Eva Cherono, Beatrice Chebet, Lois Chemnung, Teresita Modoni, Daisy Jerotich, Gloria Kite, Mercy Cherono, Sela Jetliting, Faith Cherono, Margaret Ekidor, Tabitha Njeri, and Rebecca Njeri.
And I think, for Ellen Wahome, she competed yesterday. I think she may decide, I haven't seen her in the field, but she may decide not to run today, because already, she qualified yesterday, and therefore she has a wild card. So she has a choice for her to skip today's event and just prepare for the World Championships, because again, as I said yesterday, for these athletes, it's already started. The 5,000 has already started, and Wahome, as I said again, the pace looks like it's going to be a little fast, because if you can remember 10,000 yesterday, it was in a slow pace, but this one already they are starting at a little bit faster pace.
Well, and that is straightforward, where we've seen that the athletes have decided to hit the front early, and already also deciding to make a charge early. You can see that Caroline Yaga somewhere in the backpack as they do the first 200 meters. After this, it's going to be 1,200 meters. We've got Chelimo, we've got Tibet.
Yeah, talking about, Caroline Yaga, I'm really surprised that, she's running again today after doing 10,000 yesterday. And I think this is her specialty again, though despite the fact that, of course, she won the World Championships, the African Championships in Mauritius a few weeks ago, in 10,000. And choosing here is because she knows very well that either I'll have to make the team for Oregon or for Birmingham, that is the Commonwealth Games. And I think, she has a lot of work to be able to do. And I think, as we saw yesterday, Wahome, she's the kind of an athlete that wants to be behind everybody, and because she's a very good kicker, actually. And we are going to see what she's going to do today.
Well, taking a look at them as they've done 500 meters in 1.5 minutes. Already they started off quite a little bit strongly, but looking at the cadence of the athletes, they've slightly slowed down. As we see Sela Jetleting, she's up there, up front. And we also have got Beatrice Chebet, the African champion, up there. Gateri is in that mix too. all huddled together, but looks like this is going to be one where, they will file out very, very quickly.
Yeah, and I think, as I said earlier, the pace looks like it's a little bit fast, because I think at the moment they are doing about 75, 76, per lap. And it means, for them to be able to do that, it means they are making it really, really fast. Actually, yeah, it's around almost 76 seconds per lap. And that automatically will make it around 15 minutes, point something, at the end of the race. But of course, again, most of these athletes, Wahome, they would like to always push the last half, after 5-6 laps, then definitely they will try to be able to push a little bit faster, and especially for those ones who want the race to be a little bit fast.
Well, and we saw that yesterday as we see Chelimo. She's up at the front, pushing, trying to push this race, and trying to keep Beatrice Chebet, the youngster. And just, if you just take a look at, for Beatrice Chebet, under 20 cross-country champion in 2019, under 20 world champion in 2018, she 20 African champion at under 18 level, and she won the 3,000 meters in Doha. And who did she beat? Faith Kipyegon, under 20, and also she is the national champion over this distance.
Yeah, Beatrice Chebet has a personal best of 14:34, meaning she's among the very best here. Actually, if you look at the whole lineup, for personal best, almost Beatrice Chebet is the fastest in the field, and it means for such an athlete, they would like to have a fast pace going to the race. But again, the weather here is actually favorable, because as we mentioned yesterday, the 5,000 Wahome, most of the time they need a little bit cooler temperatures, and I think for them, if they want to push the race, be fast, at least they will be very comfortable because of the weather conditions that we have here at Kasarani.
And remember that, talking about times, Wilfred has spoken about it. The fastest time at altitude ever has been 14 minutes, 49.97, and this was by Girmawit Gebrizihair, and this was at this was during the Kip Keino Classic. So you can imagine for the target of, a target of what would I would call that 15:10, which is the qualification standard, and most of the women in this field, they've already run under 15:10. For example, Mercy Chirono would be trying to get inside that bracket, but the question then is, how strong is the field? How much will they do to this? Will they do this? As we see that they've now done the 5 full lap, 2,000 meters, and that was in just about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I think, mentioning about, the qualifying, actually, this is the only event. The longer distance, Wahome, we are actually not looking at how many athletes will be able to qualify to have the qualifying time for the World Championships. Majority of them actually have the qualifying time. And I think something very important is that for them it's just the positions. We know 800 meters, 1,500 meters, 3,000 meters steeplechase, we have a bigger number of athletes that have already have a qualifying time. The only thing here that you need to make sure is to be able to get the 1, 2, 3 position, because that is the only way that you can be able to secure a position in the World Championships. Again, most Kenyans, they understand that getting qualifying is always a tight thing to be able to do, and that's why this race has become an invite-only Wahome. When you look at going straight to the finals, it means any athlete who is here have a qualifying time for the championships. So they are just looking for the positions.
And we're looking at 6.5 minutes as they come to the home straight here. And you can see that the field still huddled together, and letting the tallest of those athletes who are letting the tallest of them, she is staying there, as we can all see that Teresia Gateri, and out there we've got the to as you can see how they've all put themselves there. Mercy Cherono still huddled inside there. The African champion Caroline Nyaga towards the back, as they now have got 7 laps to go.
Yeah, and talking about Mercy Cherono, you know, she's one of the veteran athletes that have been very consistent in the event, because I think she started way back in around 2010, 2011, and she has been there for a very long time. I remember at one point, you know, she wanted to choose a marathon, and again, you know, we have always said marathon races is not for everyone, and that's why you find some athletes that they think that maybe they may want to try the marathons, but then later on they choose to come back. And I think Mercy Cherono has a lot of experience. It's very important, again, as I said yesterday, these events, it needs a lot of experience. These events, when you're going out there, going to meet your competitors, already they know who are there. The trials here is watched all over the world, because most of the competitors that these Kenyan athletes are going to meet, already they know them, and that's why they are watching the trials to know what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, you've seen it, and look, there's an injection of pace, and because Caroline Nyaga had moved forward, and Gloria Kite has decided that she's going to hit the front, and with 6 laps to go, that is 2,400 meters. There is a change, and you can see how the cadence of the athletes suddenly has moved up. Look at the marathoners, and take a look at that pace, that sudden injection of pace just after the halfway point. How well would these athletes, you know, try to hold out on this, such that the damage doesn't happen to some of these top athletes? Looking at Beatrice Chebet, just coming from, you know, winning the African championships, and that was in the 5K. She's now got to keep up with this strong pace that we're seeing here. A sudden burst. Faith Cherono, the diminutive figure, who's huddled inside there, with Stella Javelin now deciding that she's not going to be boxed amongst the other athletes as they make their way forward and trying to spread themselves out as they move there. And look at Eva Cherono right at the front, Chebet just behind her, the pace turning out to be something extremely different at the moment.
Remember this, I said, you know, these athletes after halfway, they would like to make the pace fast, and we have seen. Actually, there's something very important here that our viewers would like to know, is that at the moment, what they are doing mostly is what we call fat leg, whereby you make the pace fast and then you slow it. You know, the tactical thing of doing that, you are able to try your other competitors. And I think what will happen here, Wahome, is that 2 laps to go, you will see a lot of separation, you know, between those who are actually ready compared to everybody else. But again, all these athletes, they know each other, they are in top form coming to the trials, and I think that is why you see we still have almost 10 athletes in front, despite the fact that Eva Cherono is trying to push as fast as she can, but still the whole back is behind her. You know, she's doing a lot of pace work. If I may tell you, Wahome, is that, you know, for you to be able to be in front, you know, we have Chepet, we have Eva Cherono being in front there, trying to push. You know, what I'm afraid is that most of the time, when you see these, you're going to pace for everybody.
Well, and now, with 4 laps to go, 1,600 meters, call it a mile, still at the front, we got Eva Cherono, and with a personal best of 14:30 from the Brussels DL last year, 15:53 at the Nationals. That's a season's best. And remember, she was 7th at the Nationals, but quite a change. Javelin is also there. Then we've got Faith Cherono to the right of Beatrice Chebet, and they are still huddled. Counting just about 10 athletes, and the pace picking up as they now come down to the final 1,200 meters of this 5K race. Remember, about 15:10 is going to be fast by any standard, anywhere in the world. And
I think, you know, when you mention about 15:10, if you look at the pace, the way they have picked it up, you know, this all of them most likely will be running under the qualifying time. Again, we still have almost 10 athletes, and I think, Wahome, you know, it will come to the last 2 laps, you know, for these guys to be able to spread themselves and at least being able to know who the winner is most likely to be. When you have 10 athletes, especially for the 5,000, still 4 laps or 3 laps to go, it can be anybody's race, Wahome.
Well, and the lead keeps changing so fast as they head towards now to count down for the final 1,000 meters. And remember that the time on the clock as they hit the 4,000 meter mark now, it is around 12:20. Sela Jeplating is there. There's the time on the clock, 12:23, just past the 4,000 meter mark. So there's still about 1 kilometer of running to go.
Yeah, and I think, Jeplating, Cherono, Gite, all of them have a chance to be able to book a ticket to Oregon. And it's all, here at Kasarane. It's happening here. The weather is actually, getting a little bit warmer, which is actually good, especially as they come to the finals. And, with the watch, Wahome, 2 laps to go. Right now, as I said again, the chances of them running below 15:30 is very high for sure.
Well, remember the fastest time in Nairobi, and this is at altitude, is 14:49. That's not going to be the case as now the field starts spreading out, and let's find out who's got the kick as we see the African champion Caroline Yaga trying to pick up the pace, and now they've got 600 meters to go. Jeplating is at the front, Chabert is just behind her. We've got just also keeping up with them. So this is going to be a battle between who has got the strongest kick. We also have got Teresia Gateri. She's in the fray too. She's opted not to drop out from this leading pack, keeping them so close to each other. But just take a look at how strong this is. And here they are. They're going to hit, when they get to this point, they're going to hit the bell. Sela Jeplating is the first to hit the bell, 14:03. This is going to be fast by any standards. As take a look at who's got the sprint, and now they're in single file. Sela Jeplating has taken off, and now she's picked up the pace. Just take a look at the gap that she's created between her and Beatrice Chabert. So,
and Ed Cherono is also following her, but as 200 meters to go, it looks like it's going to be Jeplating's race. Just need to open up more. I don't think that she will be back to Cherono. But we have one to look at the first 1, 2, 3 athletes there. We have everyone else in the ring path. Jeplating, they are coming to the home stretch.
this is going to be interesting. It's going to be inside 15:10, and she just trolls across the line. 15:05.25. British Chabert takes second place. Just and look, the battle for third is always a big one.
I say this that most of them will run below that, and I think the number 1, number 2, number 3. Once we have the results here, it looks Wahome that all of them have run under 15:10. That is the number 1, number 2, and number 3. They have already done under 15:10, which is a qualifying time, and automatically the selection will be between among the 3, and then everybody else, will be able to qualify for the Commonwealth Games.
Well, and you can tell just by the look of the as you can see that Jeplating walking, making her way slowly towards that, and as she is led to the mixed zone, Isaac Lamoka is a man who's down there, going to be speaking with our race winner, Sela Jeplating, 15:05.25, and down to Isaac Lamoka.
Chelimo, jana ulikimbia, ulifanya vizuri, leo pia umekimbia, umefanya vizuri. Utasema nini kuhusiana na mbio za leo?
Mbio za leo zimekuwa nzuri. Yeah.
Tukienda Oregon unakimbia 10,000 na 5,000, sio?
Yes.
Tutarejea nini?
Tutarejea mazuri.
Asante sana. Shukrani. Ninaye pia mshindi wa mbio hizi za mita 5,000. Mambo vipi?
Nzuri.
Tueleze mbio imekuwa, unaonekana mchovu, mbio zimekuwaje?
Mbio haikuwa rahisi. Nimeng'ang'ana tu nikisema acha nikazane at least nichukue number 1.
Unatarajia kufanya vizuri leo?
Ndio, kulingana na mazoezi yenye nilikuwa nimefanya.
Utazungumzia nini wakati tunaelekea Oregon na pia Commonwealth Games?
Tukielekea Oregon na Commonwealth Games, mimi naomba nipewe chance mwaka huu. After hapo niende ning'ang'ane nikifocus kwa Oregon na Commonwealth.
All the best. Chebet. Mambo vipi Chebet?
Poa.
Unaonekana mchangamfu sana. Mbio hazijakuchosha sio?
Ilikuwa haikuwa mbaya, although sikuwa nimerudi form poa sababu tulitoka Africa Championship juzi, so climate ya huku na huku hatuko tumeshikana because tulikuwa na different of 1 week, so nile tu nilikuja kusema kila kitu ni kung'ang'ana.
Na leo hii ni changamoto gani labda umekumbana nayo apart from kuchoka?
Okay, kila mtu alikuwa strong na chenye ilimata tu ni kuvumilia. Kila kitu ni kuvumilia. Nile nilijiamini tukasema lazima ni make, sababu lazima pia ni represent country yangu outside.
Oregon na Commonwealth Games, kauli yako?
Target yangu ni medal tu. Kitu yenye inanifurahisha na ifurahisha wa Kenya pia ni mimi kuleta medal. So hiyo ndio itakuwa furaha yangu na pia kwa fans na Wakenya wenzangu.
KBC Channel 1 itakuwa inakuletea moja kwa moja, itakuwa inaonyesha mbio hizi moja kwa moja kutoka Oregon na pia Commonwealth. Zungumza na Wakenya.
Okay, kitu yenye mimi naambia Wakenya ni watuombe, tutaenda kujikaza na hizo medals God willing tutazileta.
Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you, Lamoka. And here is a recap of that race where the lead changed so many times we actually lost count until that final 2 laps when we saw that kick from Javelin, eventually winning the race in 15:05.25, and the constant change of the lead and a sudden injection of the pace in the second half of the race changed everything, Wilfred.
Yeah, I think, I like already Stella Javelin, is saying that, I hope that I will be given a chance. And I think one thing that I'm 100% sure sitting here is that she has a chance. She's going to be making the team to Oregon. She has a chance also to be able to medal, because for her to be able to run 15:05 in altitude, that means she's a medal contender when it comes to the World Championships. Again, Beatrice Jepet saying that, I want Kenyans to pray for me, and I think all our Kenyan athletes, they always have a big support, with among the most Kenyans, always they support these athletes whenever they go out there. And I think we'll be fortunate, KBC will be showing the event that will be going on there live from Oregon. And I think, all the times that all these athletes are posted, Wahome, both of them, the 3 of them, is that they have all posted a qualifying time, despite the fact that, of course, they had a qualifying time earlier on, because as we said before, is that most of these athletes, they have already, they have a qualifying time, but, as Kenyans, you must come and make the team, which is participating in the trials.
Well, we'll bring there with a breakdown of that. We'll be giving you the full results of this race shortly. 15:05, remember 15:10, that was the time that was required. And also the other events that are still going on. We've got the javelin throw going on down, and we shall be giving you some of the replays from that from the javelin throws that are coming through. So here is Julius Yegot. This was one of his attempts that went through with his usual dive as he made that, and that was just smack around the sector. When you just take a look at that, as we take a look, and that is a throw coming in from Betusela Kiprop. What was short doesn't count. Anything over 55, you're out. So that's the way they do it. As we see the crowd and the athletics enthusiasts who've come in to the Moi International Sports Center Kasarani as they get ready to see some of the best Kenyan stars who are here trying to meet the qualifying standard.
Yeah, and I think, mentioning the javelin, Wahome, I think, as I said earlier again, that this country has a big chance. Julius Yako has been able to inspire so many athletes that they have understand that, they can be able to draw a javelin and get a chance to represent the country. And I think, for them, most of these athletes, they would wish to be able to participate in championships that is going on. And as far as I know, there are so many competitions that they would like to see some of these Kenyans that they can draw. And then again, we need to have, as a country, they need to have more coaches, that can be able to coach. Because if you look at most of the field events that are doing very well in this country, most of them are being coached outside the country. And therefore, I think it's high time that Kenya itself, should be able to invest in coaching so that at least they have the technique and they can be able to do very well, so that it does not, we don't not only mention Julius Yako every now and then, but of course we are happy that at least he has inspired so many athletes.
Well, there are the athletics enthusiasts, as we know that we know that the next event that we are going to have is the 3,000 meters women's steeplechase, where we have a defending champion in the form of Beatrice Chepkoech, who's going to be running here. There's also Hyvin Kieng, a 2015 world champion. You can see the athletes warming up there, bronze medalist from last year, self-chess ball, Purity Kirui, Jacqueline Chepkoech. You got to look at this field and simply say this is strong. Ms. Virginia Nyambura, who's coming back from injury after she had a very great 2015 where she went as a pacer in Doha and ended up winning the race, making double, making the money for being a pacer and going on to win that race too.
Yeah, it happens actually. When you go to a competition and sometimes you get, you are pacing, but you still feel like you have some power on your legs. Why not finish the race? And it does not surprise me, Wahome, when you find those athletes who are being asked to pace. We have seen in marathons, we have seen in 10,000, and I think on your screens we have the lineup already, where we have Beatrice Chepkoech, Hyvin Kieng, Celestine Cheptek, Faith Cherotich, Purity Kirui, Jacqueline Chepkoech, Fancy Cherono, Karen Chepet, Edna Cherotich, and Edna Chepkemoi being in the start list.
Well, and there they are. And if just taking a look at this field, Hyvin Kieng, a personal best 9:00.01, just missed that to break the 9-minute barrier by 0.01 of a second. Celestine Chespol, it was a world under 20 record when she clocked 8:58.78, and that was in Oregon 2017. Faith Cherotich at the Kano Classic this year, 9:12.04. She won a bronze at the under 20 last year. Purity Kirui, 9:16.91, under 20 champion from 2010 in Canada. Quite a lot of experience, and at the Commonwealth Games in 2014 she won gold in 2014. That was at the Glasgow Games. Jacqueline Chepkoech, she was a national champion, world under 20 champion, third at the Kip Keino Classic. Fancy Cherono, 6th in Mauritius.
Yeah, and talking about Beatrice Chepkoech, remember that she has a world record of 8:44, which she set in Monaco. That is in 2019. 8:44 is quite fast. She's the fastest in the field. But again, with the Kenyan trials, you can never know. Sometimes you come here, you're a world record holder, you're a world champion, you're an Olympic champion, but always Kenyan athletes will surprise you. And we are going to see, as they are just in the lineup, to see who is going to make to Oregon. That means they must be number 1, number 2, and number 3 for them to be able to do it. But however, for those who doesn't make it, we have the Commonwealth Games that will be coming in at the end of July, early August in Birmingham, UK, for those who finish 4th, 5th, and 6th. But again, the fortunate thing, Wahome, is that anyone who has got a wild card Kenya has a chance to be able to field 4 athletes to represent the country. That gives a lot of advantage because when you have 4 athletes, you can sacrifice one, depending on the coaches and their managers. They can be able to talk to them and say, hey, you know what, we have athletes who are very good in pacing, and therefore we rather sacrifice one athlete to make the best faster, because we know so many of the Ethiopian athletes and some of the European athletes in these events, they are very good at the kicking, and therefore if the pace is fast, at least we can be able to have a medal, because we have got to remember this, that it's very important for these athletes for them to win medals for Kenya. I think that is something very important, Wahome.
Well, and talking about the athletes in the field, the fastest Kenyan in the field is Steeplechase Paul, and that was when she finished 6th at the Oregon Diamond League meeting, the Prefontaine Classic, clocking 9 minutes 10.17 seconds. The entry standard for this event is 9 minutes 30. So then, just taking a look at the world leaders, it's Kenyan-born athletes who are at the top 2. Winfred Butile Yavi at the Paris Diamond League meeting, she won in 8 minutes 56.55. Another Kenyan-born athlete now running in Kazakhstan colors, Nora Jeruto. She won the pre-classic and this was a very fast time, 8:57.97. One of the only 2 athletes to have breached the 9-minute barrier this year. Peruth Chemutai, there's Mekdes Bebe of Ethiopia, there's Peruth Chemutai of Uganda, and Worku Gatachu of Ethiopia, Sembo Lemahe of Ethiopia, all who've run in under 9 minutes 10, as the athletes now being called as they get ready for the start of this race. 7.5 laps, the first half lap. They will go around the main track before they now move and start going over the water jump. The first barrier, which is set at the lowest possible height, is just after you get past what is the finish line. And so,
yeah, and if you see, the start always is usually a little bit fast. And I think for this event, just the same way we have seen so many other long distance events that has been going on, today, most of it, they would like to make the pace fast, because again, in championships here, they always try to watch what is happening with the other events that have gone on, and that way they can be able to set the best what they want to do. And I think, so far it's showing that it's going to be fast. Most Kenyans would be asking themselves, why are we having few athletes running here? Every athlete that is competing here today got here by invitation, because it's very important that they can only have athletes who have been invited to run the trials, because they need to make the team for Oregon and Birmingham.
And already the field starting to look like they are in single file. A very thin field that we have got here of just about 8 of just 7 athletes. And remember, they've got running at this altitude, running 9:30 in Nairobi. For if we were to take, for example, the Kipkeino Classic, 9:15 has been run in Nairobi, and that means that there is a lot that people will be taking a look at as they go past the first water jump, and Nyambura is at the front, and all huddled together. You're still using the fat leg system.
Yeah, most people have been really surprised that Kasarani is proving to be a very fast truck, because there are few trucks that are really fast, and looking at the times that has been run here in Kasarani yesterday, the events that has gone on before, has always surprised so many when people post a very good times, breaking records in terms of stadium records, altitude records. Kasarani is proving to be really very good, and the weather right now is actually very good, and I think Wahome, just like the same way we predicted the 5,000, I think so, that we said they were going to under 15:10. Majority of the athletes will run. If you look at the qualifying time for the 9:30, I believe that after this event we are going to have below 9:30 at the final, because already the pace is peaking fast, as they have already gone through 2 jumps, water jumps, about 5 laps to go.
And already Mercy Chepkirui has decided that she's going to take this, running quite fast. They now have got 5 laps to go as she goes. Actually, that's Jacqueline Chepkirui who's now at the front. Decided to up the pace, and the field has already been spread out, and already that just Paul is just behind her. Nyambura is following closely. Remember, for Nyambura, 2015 was a very good year, becoming the national champion, and all that she was supposed to do was set the pace for everyone. But look at the field that is there with Chelsea Paul, who's been an under 20 champion over 3,000 meters, won bronze at the World Cross in 2017 in Kampala, under 20 champion in steeplechase in 2016, and silver in Commonwealth Games in 2018. So just look at her. It's now down to these 3 athletes, and this is as they come down, as they get into a place where they will be running the final 4 laps of this race. That was a quick injection of the pace by these two, as just Paul now decides that she's going to close this gap as they do.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it takes an athlete who is really brave for her to be able to take that lead, to make that quick move, because as I have said again, in the long distance, most of these athletes who are home, you know, are making the pace, you know, they're becoming the pace makers for everyone else. But again, when you come to the trials and you are ready, because the most important thing is to be here at the top 4, and I think just as Mercy and Paul has proven, you know, they are on top form, and that's why they have the courage to be able to take the lead and make the pace very fast. And I think, you know, so far, the two are really in front. I don't think that, you know, they'll still be catched. Looking at how many laps is remaining for how many.
Well, at the moment now, the battle is between Jacqueline Chepkoech and Selfin Chespol, and behind her we have got Fancy Cherono, who's in 3rd, but it is now between these two. The on-paper favorite was Selfin Chespol coming into this Whittle downfield, and as they come down here, they will now be having 3 laps to go, and the field has been spread out. And 1,200 meters to go, 5:39. Chepkoech at the front, Chespol behind her. And already, one of the things that everyone's talking about these days is the hurdling technique when it comes to the steeplechase, where they get to it and it looks like they're hopping over a little hedge.
Yeah, you know, this is something that so many other athletes from other countries, they had not actually mastered, you know, the art of jumping over the hurdle. Because remember that it's one of the toughest races we have on the track, which is the steeplechase. And as you rightly say to Wahome, you know, I mean, you find that when they reach there, you know, there's a lot of stopping, because hardly do you do, like, for example, the 400 hurdles, you know, it is easy for you because you know which leg you have got to jump over the hurdle. But for the steeplechase, you know, you're running and then continuous running, and then suddenly, you know, there is a barrier that is there and you have got to make a stop. It makes it a little bit tough, but again, you know, it's all about technique, it's all about mastery of it, but that's why you find both Chepkoech and Chepsol already in front, giving a huge gap to the 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, which again, you know, if you look at the 3rd, 4th and 5th, already, you know, they have a chance to be able to be in the Commonwealth, but the 2 has already broken off, giving the others almost 70 meters difference.
Well, and taking a look just at the way they're spread out, Chepkoech, and you know, she is the world under-20 champion, she is the national champion, she's the one who's right at the front, making her Diamond League debut this year, 9:15.07, and that was in Oregon. Then take a look at this. She was started at the 5th at the Kip Keino Classic, 3rd at the Kip Keino Classic last year, and is now making her presence felt at an age grade level, and now moving into the senior level, destroying the field that even has experienced people like Selfin Chespol, who's held the world under 20 record, 8:58.78, and that was from 2017, a time that hasn't been beaten. The only thing we need to take a look at is, can she run 9:05 as she gets to this point, because the fastest time at altitude 9:04.95. Jacqueline Chepkoech, she gets the bell, 8:06 on the clock. How fast can she run? Remember that we've seen some very fast times happening here, but the under-20 champion with 300 meters to go picks up the pace. The question is, can she breach 9:05? As we see, Francie Cherono is overtaken. That graph is going. Chess Paul has slowed down eventually, has decided she's not going to move and catch up with Jacqueline Chepkoech, who's the lone ranger out front as she goes over that barrier. After that, there's going to be a water jump and one more to go, and she's going around the bend at the 200-meter mark. Looks to have slightly slowed down, but she's got her focus still on, looking straight forward, headed towards the final water jump, and 8:53. The question is, can she do it in 12 seconds to make it towards the final 100 meters? One more barrier to go as she picks up the sprint. This is not going to be the fastest time in altitude, but it is going to be one of the fastest time as she now makes a rush for the line. 9:16 on the clock. This is pretty fast for this field, and she crosses the line. 9 minutes, 21.85 seconds.
What a race, Wahome. You know, looking at all these athletes and having Patrice Chepkoech deciding to take a lead. Yes, deciding to take the lead from the beginning, and you know, it has proven once again running below 9:30, which is a qualifying time, and doing 9:21, and it looks like almost the first two athletes, Wahome has already crossed the line below 9:30, which is qualifying time. And something else that is important to be able to mention here, as you said earlier, is that most of these athletes who are competing here, they were doing the under-20 last year, and they are doing very well. If you look at from yesterday's event that was going on, majority of the athletes that were winners here are those who are running under-20 that they have just graduated to the seniors. And having Chepkoech there, having won the run under-20, and right now already she's a winner of today's trials.
And Purity Kirui is still sprawled on the track. She had to make that strong push to finish third, and we'll be talking about that later. But now down to Isaac Lemoka, who is with Jacqueline Chepkoech, the winner.
Kocha yangu Patrick Sang and Richard Weta kwa kunisaidia kwa kunipea advice na kunipea train. Na I want to thank my training mate. Yeah. Najua kila mtu atakuwa ametrain vizuri, lakini I will try my best.
Okay. Chess Paul, labda tuelezee mbio imekuwa vipi?
Nashukuru Mungu. Position imeridhika. Nashukuru Mungu.
Utarajia nini katika mashindano ya dunia na labda Commonwealth ikiwa utaweza kudouble?
Kwa watu ambao tunaenda kama wiki mbili. Tunaenda kutrain mpira.
Asante. Diego.
The first two athletes, as we can see from your picture, as Purity Kirui, who made a surge for third. The times have been confirmed. Jacqueline Chepkoech, 9:21.85, the winning time. 9:32.5 for second place in that race, and that went to Selfin Chess Paul as Purity Kirui finished that. Oh, and there was early drama, and I think that must have taken out Nyambura quite early in the race.
Yeah, because this is actually something that happens most of the time, and especially when you are many athletes, as you jump towards the water jump, you can easily make a mistake, and I think that is one of the athletes. Hopefully that she didn't get injured, because when you get injured in the middle of the season, Wahome, I can tell you that it can be a disaster, because you can imagine you still have all the other competitions. World Championships is coming up in the middle of the season. We have the whole of August and part of September for these athletes that are supposed to be competing in the Diamond League. So hopefully, the athlete who had an issue there, the water jump, hopefully she's not injured. And I think, mentioning about Jacqueline Chepkoech, who really decided, to take a lead, an earlier lead, and be able to pace for everyone. And that's why we see she gave a huge cup to the second athlete, that is which is.
All right, thank you very much, Wilfred. And now we go down to Bernard Okumu, who's trackside, and he will be speaking with Julius Yego.
The season best today. How do you see the progression, the momentum that you've just built?
As I said, I think it's quite okay. It's quite okay. And I'm happy that I'm getting these 80 meters at home, also in stadium. Having a very long distance times is a bit because we don't have any advantage of the wind. So I think I'm excited. I'm excited that I'm able now to go as we continue. I think maybe 2 or more competitions before the year ends, and I think I'll improve. I will keep improving.
Okay. At the Commonwealth, what was your expectations?
Of course, that is another competition. When you go there, you have to be at your best. The main ultimate thing, of course, is to win. I won it in 2014, so I want to claim it back.
Okay, asante sana, and all the best, Diego.
Well, there you are, and that was Julius Yego speaking with Bernard Okumu. As we take a look at one of his photos, we'll be giving you the official, mark that he made, because this is the first time that he has done 80 meters in over 3 years. That has been the standout. That hit 80, but the other one went over 80. Remember, the entry standard required for the world is 85 meters. So here we go. And yes, the 5,000 meters women's final 15:05.24 was the time. As we take a look at throw by Kinyanchui, that is already there. And that came through.
Yeah, the event that will be coming up shortly will be 1500 meters. We have the likes of Timothy Cheriot, Apel Kipsang, Charles Simoto, Petuel Kibirgen, Etienne Kamari Taki, already in the track, as you can see from there, taking a warm-up before they start the 1500 meters. And I think, the qualifying for home is going to be 3:35 qualifying time. There you have on your screens Timothy Cheriot, Apel Kipsang, Charles Simoto, Petuel Bergen, Etienne Kamaro, Kumari Taki, Chod Manangoi, Ronald Kwemoi, Vincent Kibet, Daniel Kumbe are going to be in the start list for the 1500 meters here at Kasarani for a qualifying to be able to qualify for the World Championships and the Commonwealth Games that will be going on in Birmingham, UK at the end of July, the beginning of August. 1500 meters they're going to start the race, and I think already we have Timothy Cheriot with a 3:28 personal best, Alpal Kipsang 3:29, Chelsea Mato, he has got 330 personal best. Petrel Birken, he has a 330. So the fastest athlete on the track is Timothy Cheriot with a 328. And I think not so long ago he ran, and I think he won the Kipkeino Classic.
Yes.
Yeah, here. So he's one of those athletes that have been very consistent, Timothy Cheriot, for some time
Actually,
now.
Abel Kipsang won the Kipkeino Classic here. Fastest time at altitude 3:31:01, also still a world lead to this time in the 1500.
Yeah, they are on the lineup. In a few seconds, they will be starting the race. We are going to know between Timothy and Appel who is going to be the winner of today's race and make a booking to Eugene, Oregon. Every athlete here in the lineup has a chance to represent the country during the World Championships, because majority of them, they have a qualifying time. Looking at qualifying time to be in Oregon is 3:35, and so far we have about 5-7 athletes who have already run below that time, meaning that it is anybody's race for them to be able to make a qualifying time. What is important is to finish 1, 2, 3. The expectations here is that the race is going to be a little bit fast. We know that the weather is good for the 1500 meters, Wahome, and I think we expect below 3:35 probably during the finals. That is the start of the 1500 meters.
3 3/4 laps on this track, and you can take a look at that field. It's loaded and they're off immediately, and it doesn't take long for you to notice Timothy Cheriot, with his slightly bent gait as he tries to stick to the front. Abel Kipsang, just fresh from winning the African Championship. Timothy Cheriot, he got a silver out there, and you can see he's right at the front. Abel Kipsang at the front. You've got the Manangoi brothers also inside there. Vincent Keter, Etiang Kamar is on the outside. He's decided to stay up front. Everyone wants to take a look at how are they going to do this, as we also see Mr. Indoors, Bethel Birgen. He's been known as a pacer. He's there. Daniel Munguti also pushing, and this race has started quite fast. Wilfred, let me just take this mark for a note. Going through the first 400 in 55 seconds.
That is quite fast, actually, because for 55 seconds, it's almost like a world record pace. And I think, for Timothy Cheriot, he knows that Abel Kipsang is there. So we know he's the kind of athlete that wants the race to be very fast. And I think, 55 seconds for a lap is quite very fast. And remember this, everybody else will try to push. You may, as a professional athlete, you may want to push Wahome, the fast, and then maybe slow. But again, all your competitors are pushing. And as you can see, with Timothy Cheriot, he's in front, followed closely by Kamar and Kipsang. They are already, the three of them, the three best athletes that we have, are all in the front, because they have got to watch themselves. They have got to know that at what point am I supposed to make a move, Wahome.
Yeah, and they are about to go through 800 meters. The pace is blistering. 1:54 at 800. And at the front, Abel Kipsang, Timothy Cheriot, we've got Kamare Tiang, under 18 champion, 2016 under 20 champion, under 2016 under 20 champion, 2015 under 18 champion. He was fourth in Mauritius, second at the Nationals, and he won the Fanny Blunkers Kuhn Games in Hengelo. He's the lanky fellow that you see in yellow, and you can see Mari Taki is also just behind him. Manangoi is also there, 2017 world champion, and remember, the Manangoi brothers are there. This is where it gets very interesting as they make their way towards the bell. And remember that this field has got athletes of all sorts, and the bell goes 2:39 on the clock. How fast can these athletes run? There's 400 meters to go. I remember at 2:45, this 2 minutes 53 is a blistering pace anywhere in the world. I think in 2015, Asbel Kiprop was working with 242 at 1200 meters to get there. And Timothy hits the front, Chariot, and just take a look at that surge. This is a sprint for the line. Kipsang is at the front. It's the final 200 meters. Kipsang, Chariot, take a look at them. It's all Michael Martin. This is going to be one of the fastest 1,500 meter races of all time. Look at Kipsang. Look at Matamboy. Who's going to take this? Chariot. Abel Kipsang, 332. Oh yes, Kipsang by the thickness of a vest ahead of Timothy Chariot. 334.56.
I think I have never watched a 1,500 meters that you have 5 athletes who are holding to the finish line, 5 athletes in the sprint. You know, this is something that doesn't happen. You don't see this very often. And I think, you know, today's race, all athletes running, about 5 athletes, all of them running below 336, almost 335 qualifying time. It is, I think in so many years, Wahome, that we were able to see a 1,500 meters like this.
Well, and also you could see that aside from all of those athletes, what a race that it has turned out to be. Silver medalist from the bronze medalist from indoors, Abel Kipsang, and remember the indoors, he was up against the 2 best 100 meter runners in the world, including Jakob Ingebrigtsen, Timothy Chariot, and just take a look at them. That was it. This finish was simply fire. You could see, even as Kubari Taki trying to hold on there, Manangoi was just behind. But take a look at this final charge. Abel Kipsang, and as he tried to lock in lane 2, as they made their way towards the front, and there they were, finishing off Abel Kipsang, Timothy Chariot, Lucas Kumaritaki. This is going to be a selector's headache. I wouldn't mind being a selector at this time.
I can tell you that, you know, it's really exciting, you know, to see this. And I know those guys who love athletics, they will talk for about 800 meters for a very long time.
Let's go to Okumu, who's speaking with Kipsang and Chariot.
Yes, Kumaritaki, mbio zilikuwa vipi?
Leo nilikuwa na tension, nilikuwa tactical. Lakini mimi nafurahi kwa sababu ipo maana leo ilikuwa na qualify ya World Championship.
Na labda tarajia nini, utaweza double?
Sasa hii kuna kitu ninachosema, ile tu iko ni kwamba kutoka hapo nitakuwa najipanga. Kwa nimesikia sijisikia mguu inasikiaje, lakini hapo mbele itakuwa sawa.
Okay, asante, all the best.
Thank you.
Kipsang. Kipsang, ujambo, congratulations for the win. Labda mbio ilikuwa vipi?
Mbio haiko mbaya, lakini ilikuwa tu ngangana. Nilikuwa number 1 kati ya number 1, 2, 3.
Na labda tarajia nini katika World Championship na Commonwealth?
Huko World Championship natarajia nipate medal. Target sana ni gold, lakini ikiumana nipate 1, 2, 3 hapo katikati.
Okay, asante and all the best.
Yeah.
Right. Iko sawa. Asante. Timothy bana. Sawa. Yes, Timothy, tuambie labda, how was the race?
The race was good. All planned, and I'm good. I'm back in a good position today. Despite I was having a little problem, but now I'm 80%. So I'm happy. I'm coming back. Yeah.
The remaining 20%, how soon do you want to get to 100?
Yeah, I need to work on my endurance and speed for the few weeks before World Championship. Yeah.
Will you double? Are you considering doubling at the World Championship as well as the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Okay. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wabe imeisha.
Bana. Nimepeana huko juu yote imeisha. Hata hapa pia imeisha. Lakini
Well, and as we take a look at this 1,500 meter race, that Wilfred and I simply say it's not one that we would want to mind, but looking at the jostling that started early, Manangwa, the 2016 champion, was already, right up there, and actually George, the young lion, was just there. But take a look at that final burst, where Timothy Cheruiyot and Abel Kipsang were battling for that front slot, and also Kumari Taki getting into the fray. How would you just break this final phase of the race?
Wahome, is that these athletes, they know each other. When they were coming here, most of the time they know who is in a very good form, and I think today, this is the highlight of the event. I know that we still have 100 meters, 800 meters, other events that are coming up, but for 1500 to have 4 athletes just going what we call a step finish, a photo finish, it's something that you don't see more often. Even in championships, Wahome, you don't see this kind of event going on.
And just taking a look at that, I think Reynold Cheruiyot finishing 4th, and that means that there is every chance that he's picked himself slot for the Commonwealth Games, because actually even landed a slot for the World Championships coming into this race, 3:36, but the entry standard is what would be the biggest challenge for him, being 3:35. So for him, looking at the Commonwealth Games, given the time that he had when he was coming into this, but for the athletes who are there, for example, George Mangoi, Eli Menangoi, Charles Simoto, all with their chances, and Kamare Tiang, depending on where they place, then they could be amongst the 4 who will be getting into the team that is headed for Eugene, Oregon. Remember that the All Championships will also be live on KBC Channel 1, and that is from the 15th of July to running until the 24th of July.
Wahome, what happened this year is that the World Championships is coming a little bit earlier, and that's why you see so many athletes hasn't posted very good times, in exception of Timothy Cheruiyot and Abel Kipsang. All right, there you have the 400 meters women finals. We have Gladys Ntenya for the police, Maureen Thomas, police, Veronica Mutua, Helen Sompua, Mary Mora, running again for National Police. Surface, we have Jarinda Mawia for KDF, Jacinta Shikanda, and Joan Cherono, all running for the police. So it's an police and KDF event. Interestingly, Wahome?
Yes, actually, just take it's all police, because it is always said that if you're looking for a 4x400 meter relay team, all you need to do is just get to team police. But one person who's not going to be running is Jarinta Mawia. She is not going to be running in this event, but going through the athletes who are and also in lane 1 we've got Gladys Ntenya Musioki, 53.69. The required entry standard is 51.35, and that is very, very high for the 400 meter flat. So there is Gladys Ntenya Musioki, 53.69, coming into this race. Lane 2, Maureen Thomas of police, 54.89. The picture of that is Joan Cherono. She is a 54.33 runner.
Yeah, and I think the sprints at the moment, they may not have the qualifying time, Wahome, but I think this is the beginning of Kenyan athletes moving into sprints, because again, majority of them, they have realized that we can be able to make as a country in the sprints. And looking at these athletes, we have Mutua, we have Mushokite, we have Thomas, all running for the National Police. And I believe, in the next few years, we are going to have very good sprinters that may have a qualification for the championships, and especially the Commonwealth Games. These athletes should be given a chance for them to participate in the Commonwealth Games. And again, as I've said before, for any athlete, they need to be able to compete more races out there for them to be able to run very well.
Well, there is the one person all eyes will be on. That is Veronica Mutua, 52.76, and her personal best time. And for Veronica Mutua, it's the one stage. Looking at the time that she's got, all she needs to do is improve. The weather is perfect for them. And also, one other notable absentee is Helen Siombua of the National Police Service, 53.16, second fastest on paper. But Mary Morai yesterday is also in the field. She's going to be running in lane 5, and yesterday she clocked 1:57.45, the third fastest time in the 800 meters at altitude, relegating Faith Kipyegon, the 1,500 meter Olympic champion, double Olympic champion, to second place. And that was one standout moment, running from gun to tape. How much energy would she have spent? Remember, she won the silver at under 18 level, so they're on to their marks now. And this is the start of the women's 800 meters. In lane 8 we've got Cherono. Cherono's been asked to move to lane 7. The lane allocation looks a little bit unusual for me.
It is unusual, but I think that is more on the technicality. But again, Wahome, you are allowed as an athlete. For you, if you feel like you're not comfortable on the blocks, you can decide to put your hand up, and that way the starter can decide to say that do not start. And I think that is exactly what happened. Because if you are not ready, the best thing, you can still be allowed. But after on your mark, if you don't raise your hand on time, then it is easy for you to make a false start. And I don't think that there is any athlete who comes to the trials and wants to make a false start. As we saw yesterday, one athlete was disqualified, and I think it was also the 400 meters, Wahome.
Yes, it was William Ryan who was disqualified. So, again, the women, Musyoki in 1, Thomas in 2, Mutua 3, Mora 5, Cherono in 7. The women's 400 meters. And off they go, and Mary Mora already upright as we see Veronica Mutua. She knows she's got a blank lane, so she's got a lot of gap to do. And already we have one athlete who's fallen off and dropped off right at the start. And the athlete who's out is Gladys Musyoki. She has dropped out, but take a look at this. Mary Mora has hit the front already as they go take that bend. It's a final 200 meters, but look at the late surge coming in from Mutua on the inside. Mora trying to make time and see if she can double in the 408. Mutua is out there in lane 3, but look at Mora looking out front, and she's going for that ultimate double. Makes the search for the line. She's clear all alone as she tries to beat that mark. 50.85 seconds. She's qualified for the World Championships in the 400 meters.
Wow, what a race today. Mary Mora, having run 800 meters yesterday, winning with a 157.85, and today doing 50.85. I think, Wahome, with this, it shows that Mary Mora is on her top form. That is something very important. And I think, going to the World Championships with such a time, because remember that when she will be running 800 meters, she will need to pass at 58, 59, and being able to do 50.85 here in 400 meters, it is really amazing. But again, I think the best thing for Mary Mora to be able to do is to concentrate on the 800 meters, because for any athlete, it's important that they prepare for the World Championships. It's important that they will be able to medal, because every athlete wants to have a win. And we know very well that she's here today, having only 21 days for Mary Mora to get ready for the World Championships, which will be starting in the next 3 weeks. Wahome, I can tell you she's in top form.
Well, that was explosive coming in from Mary Mora, 50.85, because you've got to take a look at all of this, and this officially would make it a national record for Mary Mora.
You can imagine an athlete, who is an 800 meter runner and being able to break a world record in 400 is really amazing. It's really amazing. And I think, Mary Mora is proving to Kenyans that she's ready for the World Championships in either of the events that she chooses to run.
Well, and now we go outside and we've got Bernard Okumu, who is about to speak with Mary Mora.
Venye nimekimbia vizuri, nimeenjoy race kulingana na ile mazoezi yenye nimefanya.
Yesterday you did win the 800 meters and today you won 400 meters. Are you considering to double?
Hiyo itategemea venye kocha atamua. Sasa naenda kudouble. Hiyo ni kocha atamua. Yeah. Thank you.
Tuko tu sawa. Kali lakini tunajaribu. Yeah. Kama nitafaulu kuingia, tena tukong'ang'ana.
For coming to this amazing stadium to offer your support for our world champions. Thank you.
Asante Paul. Studio. 5-4, yes. Yes, Bosire, after today's trials, how many athletes are being picked and when are they expected to go to camp?
AK has got its quota, I think 40-something. And as a GTM, I'm so excited that the process of selection is coming to an end today. And I'll expect that the teams report to the camp as soon as possible. I can see a very strong team coming from Athletics Kenya. And I'm very sure as we go to Birmingham, we'll be able to have a very strong team. We have a target of performing very well. And I believe with prayers, we are going to do the best overall for as far as Commonwealth is concerned. So for me, I'll expect that AK will be able to hand over the team to Knock, and we'll definitely move to the camp as soon as tomorrow so that we can be able to proceed with the preparations. You realize that all the teams are in the camp and the spirits are very high, and we're looking forward to performing to the best of our ability. Of course, we are praying that we'll be able to, everything will be on our side.
And top athletes have sailed through, no major upset. What do you make of that?
There are no major upsets. Top athletes have sailed through, and I'm happy these are the athletes as we anticipated that they'll be able to make it. With a lot of experience, we definitely expect that both in the World Championships and the Commonwealth Games, we'll be able to perform well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
As far as
thank you very much. God bless.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bernard Kumu speaking with Mary Mora and also with Athletics Kenya, a public Relations Officer Evans Bosire. And well, what an execution of that 400-meter race as we now move towards the 10,000 meters. And this is a field that is very loaded. But just take, you've got Daniel.
Yeah, we have the 10,000 meters men's final. And on the list is we have Daniel Mateko, Ronald Kipruto, Rogers Komoy, Timothy Kibet, Charles Kamau, Stanley Waidaka, Richard Yator, Alexander Mutiso, Weldon Langat, Philemon Kiplimo. For the 10,000 we have Collins Koros, Kibiwat Kandia, Samuel Chebole, Charles Muneria, Jonathan Diku, Vincent Kibet, Emmanuel Kiblakat, Wesley Kitok, Vincent Kiprotich, and Alfred Bargach in the 10,000 meters final. We also have Abraham Longosiwa, Julius Kipon, Abraham Chirobon, and Edward Sakayo in the final of the 10,000 meters. They are in the lineup. Already all the athletes line up, and I think for the 10,000 it's the first time that we are seeing so many athletes line up for the 10,000 compared to all the other events that we have had few athletes were home.
Well, quite a loaded field, and I've got to say, because just taking a look at it, originally they were to have about 24 entries, but this looks like it's just come down to just under 20, and that event is scheduled to start in just over the next 1 minute. So all these athletes getting for that clearance. Just to take a look at them, you've got Daniel Mateko, clock 27:03 in Hengelo last year, second at the Kip Keino and second at the Istanbul half, and 60:05 a time for that. Rogers Kwemoy, another one to look out for, bronze in the Commonwealth Games in 2018. He won the Istanbul half in 59:15, was second in the Iraq half in 58:30. You've got Timothy Kibet, fourth at the Eldoret City Marathon. Richard Yator is another one, under 18 champion from Kaline 3K, who's moved up, and Kibiwot Kandie, a former world record holder in the half marathon. So quite a field we've got.
Yeah, and remember the qualifying time for this is 27.28, and if you look at already the names that has been read by Wahome, is that most of these athletes, they have a qualifying time, meaning that they have come here knowing very well that they have a qualifying time, but what they need to do is to be able to get the position. That means, again, just like all the other events, 1, 2, 3 for the World Championships, and probably 4th, 5th and 6th for the Commonwealth Games. So far, these athletes have proven that they are ready. It may start with a slow pace, as we have seen most of the 10,000 meters. The first 5 kilometers, they're running a little bit slower, and then they start increasing the pace as they go to the second half of the competition.
Well, also as this competition happens, we'll have a chance to hear from 800-meter Olympic champion from 1988, Paul Ireng. So that's going to be coming in. Remember that this event is 25 laps around this track. The athletes being set in 2 batches. So there are 2 starting points, one on the inside of the track, the others on the outside. 25 laps, entry standard 27:28. Now, let me just drop something about one of the fastest times at altitude, and that was by Jeffrey Kamoror and that was last year. He clocked 27:01.6. 27:01.06 at altitude. So these athletes and the field that we have, how good can they be? Can we see Rogers Kwemoy, who did 26:55 in Doha in 2019, has done a 27:25 in Japan this year? Looking at all of these athletes, and for the those who've gone into the marathons and the half marathons, what kind of competition can they offer? And can we see if someone or one of them can offer a challenge to Uganda's Joshua Cheptegei in Eugene. The start of the men's 10,000 meters.
And remember that most of these athletes would like to post a faster times. Kasarani, once again, is proving to be a very fast competition, and that is why we have very good times from 400. The events that we have seen today, all the athletes have really run very fast. We are yet to see now what 10,000 will be able to do, and hopefully we are going to see an altitude time, which we at the moment starts at 27.01 by Kamoror Joffrey, and therefore him running here today again with the likes of Daniel Mateko, Ronex Kipruto, Rochas Kwemoi, Charles Kamau Wanjiku. All these athletes have the potential to be able to post very good times. Again, they are not yet start, still taking a warm-up. There's a slight of a small delay, something that doesn't happen Wahome, because as an athlete, when you're ready, getting ready, it's very important for them to just come to the line and they start immediately. And I think they are going to start now for the 10,000 meters. What happened in Wahome is that when you see the two lines, because what happened is that when you have a bigger number of athletes, some of them have got to run in the front, and that's why you are able to see why they have put the markings for the athletes not to cross. Those athletes who are in the front, they are not supposed to cross until they go to their first home stretch. And there they are, they have already started with a faster pace. Looks like the pace is going to be fast. Unlike in the other events that we have seen, they start a little bit slow, but right now 10,000 and they are already starting in a faster pace. We will see what the time they will be crossing in the 400 meters. For these athletes, they need 68 Wahome at every 400 meters. For those who are taking the lead, again, they become the pacemakers for everybody else.
Well, we've seen wild things happen on this track where an athlete decides to take off. And remember that at the moment the skies have cleared out in Nairobi, so it's quite sunny. The cloud cover has reduced, and just taking a look at the time for the first lap, 66 seconds. And the athlete who's right at the front is Jonathan Muyandiko. He's based in Japan. He is the athlete right at the front, looking for that opportunity to represent the country. And remember, taking just a look at the field that we are looking at here, the fastest Kenyan this year has been Sebastian Kimaru Sawe, clocking 27 minutes 9.46 seconds, and this was in Mala, Portugal in June, precisely 3 weeks ago. The second fastest Kenyan over the 10,000 meters has been Bernard Kibet, 27:20.66, and we've got Rogers Kwemoi, who clocked 27 minutes 25.17 seconds at the Nagaragawa Stadium in Gifu, Japan.
Yeah, and something important to remind our viewers is that we have got very few races outside there, especially when it comes to the Diamond League and the tours. We have few 10,000 meters happening every year. You find most of these athletes, they compete in the road races, majority of them doing half marathon, doing the cross country, but here they have a chance again to be able, because we know that when it comes to World Championships, they are going to meet our Ugandan competitors, the Ethiopians. And I think Wahome, since the times of Charles Kamati, we have not actually medal in this event, but looking at the field and the athletes that we have here, we may have a chance this year to get a medal, and at least a gold medal during the World Championships in Oregon. as I said earlier, you know, the laps is about 66, 67, which is actually a very good pace for a good time in 10,000 meters. And as you see, some athletes are coming to push, because when most athletes, when they realize the race is becoming a little bit slow, then most of the time what they try to do is for them to try and make the pace fast. They are 10,000 meters, going for the third lap. The field is spreading, as we can see. Yeah, the pace is moving fast, Wahome.
Right, sure enough. And yes, that is now we still have got 21 and a half laps to go in this event. And as it continues, what about speak to a former world record holder in the women's marathon? Her name is Tegla Rorupe. She is down at the mixed zone with Bernardo Kumu.
Okay, yes, Tekla, thank you so much for granting us an opportunity to talk with you. What would you make of the ongoing trials and the team that will be picked, especially your specialty, which was the long distance?
Well, first of all, I'm really happy to see that our athletes are doing well, and I've seen the results of yesterday and today. But I'm sure that the women that we have, I think we are going to fight with Ethiopian. Yeah, and we might have at least not less than 1 and 2.
Yes, yeah. And Obiri has really done us proud. You know, two-time world champion. She could be going for her third title. What's remaining in her gas tank?
Well, she's still young, and what's remaining when she finishes 10,000, she needs to move to marathon, because without the speed and endurance and experience, she has a lot to give to the Kenyan, and also she has a lot to bring athletes from young age. Yeah.
And what would be your expectations at the World Championship? Are we finally ending that season when we've not won a medal in 5,000 meters men?
I think maybe the problem that we normally have is that we do not know how to coordinate. It's not that our athletes are not bad, because they win a lot of races in the Grand Prix. But if they stay well, I think Kenyans now, they are learning. I think we will not miss a medal. Yeah.
And talk about your refugee team. It was
yes.
At the 2016 Rio, as
yes.
well as at the 2020 in Tokyo. What's the plan this time around? Are we going to see it at the Commonwealth Games and the World Championship?
Well, for the refugee, we are not going for the Commonwealth. We are going for the World Championship. Already we have 5 athletes qualified for the World Championship. So, and after this, our athletes who are training Gong now, they will move to the training camp with the Kenyans, because we belong also here. Yeah, so that we have we have women 1,500 meters and 800 meters Angelina, and then we have 5,000 meters men, but they are not here, they are in Israel.
How important is it to involve the refugees in the sports program? You've been there since the idea was mooted.
For the refugee, I think they are our kids, because when the conflict comes, the conflict doesn't choose people, and therefore I'm really happy that the refugees have been given opportunity to participate in all kind of races that our normal athletes are running. And especially I want to thank the government of Kenya, because they support a lot of this project for the refugees. And also our Department of Sports, like Kenya Athletic Federation, they have given us opportunity to train with them and also to run the AK meetings. Yeah, that's kind like we see humanity and we see brotherhood. Yes.
Yes, and going by the results that they've attained, let's say at the Tokyo and also in Rio, how encouraging is it?
Now they don't call themselves refugees anymore, but they are athletes, because they train with the best in the whole world, and that's Kenya. So they have improved a lot. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, and all the best for our Kenyan team also to do well in the World Championship and the Commonwealth. Yes. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Yes, because
Hii mic ilikuja ikakuwa poa ama? Kuna time
that you don't share.
kuna time walisema.
Go. We've got 17 and a half laps to go. Actually 18 and a half laps, and 8:20 on the clock, and the lead has been changing. Kibiwot Kandia at the front now, and there is another change of the leaderboard over there as we take a look at these athletes. The race now spreading out, getting into single file, and when they come around this bend, they will have 17 laps to go.
Yeah, and Wahome, what is interesting here is that, the pace is actually very good because they started with 66. The lap that has just finished, they have gone at 65 seconds per lap, meaning the race is really fast. And right now, they are at, again, 65. They have repeated another 65, meaning that this race is going to be one of the fastest. And as you rightly said, there is a lot of changeover from the leaders. At least they are able to assist themselves because, again, as an athlete, when you go in front and you are the only person that is pacing, it becomes a little bit tough. But it looks like there is a lot of changeover in the front. The athletes need to make sure that at least by halfway, we will see that they are really spread. Already, we still have a pile of athletes as much as it's spread, but we have a huge number of athletes there in contention for the position of 1, 2, 3 for the World Championships, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the Commonwealth Games. Unfortunately for this event, Wahome, we do not have a wild card for any athletes, and that is why it is going to be strictly 1, 2, 3 across the line, Wahome.
All right. Well, there you go. Just about 16 laps to go in this event, and yeah, the lead suddenly changing again, and Kip Korir is at the front. But right now, let's go down to Bernard Okumu. We're speaking with Athletics Kenya Vice President in charge of competitions. His name is Paul Butui.
Speak with you. Today, Charles, what didn't you expect to see?
Now, in the first place, the listeners and people watching should be able to know the kind of event we have, and I want to disclose that this is an athletic event which is supposed to select 2 teams going for 2 international championships. The first one being the World Athletics Championships, which will be held in Oregon in USA, that is United States of America. And the second team will be heading to Birmingham in the United Kingdom, that is Britain, for the Commonwealth Games. And what is happening is that we have called our athletes, depending on the qualification, because before an athlete is selected to go and represent the country in any one of the 2, the athlete must have qualified in terms of the performance, that there is a definite qualification. That is like if it is 100 meters, an athlete is supposed to qualify with how many seconds. If it is 10,000, with how many minutes, and so forth. So we invited athletes. We did not ask any Kenyan yet to come for the trial, but we asked only those who had qualified to come. And then now I want to say it here, out of the ones who are participating, we will be able to select positions number 1, 2, 3, and they will head on to represent the country in the first place, the World Athletics in USA, and then after that, because the Commonwealth Games, only a few athletes are required, we'll get to know which lot out of the ones going to the USA will be able to shift now from America to Britain to go and represent us during the Commonwealth Games. So that's the position.
Yes, and what would be expectations from the team that will be picked today?
The expectation is that even ourselves, who manage athletics, it's like we are seeing a kind of change from the kind of performance we have been given by our athletes. The current one, within the last 1-2 days now, is fantastic. They are doing very well. The performances are excellent, very good.
Yes, and maybe about Javelin, Diego with the season best. On Friday, the chair announced that he had already had a wild card for the Commonwealth Games. How many maybe Javelin throwers have we, the team expected to be sent to Commonwealth Games? How many Javelin throwers?
He's only one. Just Diego himself.
Just Diego alone?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Mtwe.
Asante.
And we wish you all the best. Maybe before we let you go, tell us about when the team is expected to go to camp. We just barely 2 weeks to go to the championship, World Championship.
I am telling you, this the time for going to camp is today. We had requested the athletes to come with all being prepared to remain behind those of them who will be selected. So the camp starts tonight, simply because tomorrow we'll be sorting them out to start preparing for the visas, because the United States visas have a little bit of a complication, and we had seen them before, the embassy of United States, and they say by tomorrow on Sunday we must be able to forward to them the names and the details of the athletes who should be going for the World Athletics. So the camp starts outright. Yes.
Maybe you could talk as an observer, just like many Kenyans watching the trials on KBC Channel 1 TV. What has been the highlight of the 2 days championship so far for you?
Now the highlight is that we have been having presentations being very well, and in the first place the kind of athletes we have been having, they have been doing very well, and we highly appreciate the KBC for coming to cover this event live. And we ask you to continue that way, so that the 190 right over there, they should be able now, because not all of them could be able to come to the stadium, so that they would be able to see their loved ones doing the events live, and just they are running, not to be told a little bit later.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Mtwe, and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you. Asante sana.
Well, that was Bernard Okumu, and he was speaking with AK Vice President Paul Mutwi. And right now we have got 10 and a half laps to go. And the interesting thing is, a person who runs in Bahraini colors is at the front. We're talking about Abraham Cheroben, who is at the front right now. But you can see that the field has spread out. It's changing a lot.
And I think, Wahome, we have got 7 athletes in front already separating themselves from everyone. And as we have said earlier, these 7 athletes, they have a chance for them to be able to make to the team. Because remember that we need 1, 2, 3 athletes. We have Kandia, we have Sakayo, Mateko, Epeño, and already they are taking a lead. They're a little bit slow in the middle of the race, whereby they were doing again 67, but it looks like they are pushing again to 66, 65 per lap, and I think this is the beginning. Most of the 10,000 meters athletes, they would like to push after a halfway, and as you can see, when we have few athletes there, those are the athletes that are most likely to be making the team. Each one of them has a chance to be able to make the team. Already remaining 3 athletes in contention, 6 athletes in the contention for this. As you can see, they have already separated themselves from everyone else. Wahome.
Well, another interesting thing to note is that from the field that we had, the field was huge at the start. It's been cut down in half. The number of withdrawals has been massive. So Mateko is at the front, and Daniel Simiwe Benyo also attempting the double. Kibiwot Kandia is there. is also in that fray, as now they've got about nine laps to go, and you can see that from the field of this 6 athletes now, it's all about who's going to be right at the front. Daniel Mateko, who was second at the Kip Classic, second at the Istanbul Half, is up at the front. Daniel Ebenyo Simiu is also in the fray now. Take a look at it as they now start setting themselves up for what could be there, as Ronex Kipruto now decides he's going to hit the front, and he has one of the athletes who's been called in and is running here, trying to control this pace, just over 3,200 meters as they come down this home straight. Who will have the power over the last 3,200 meters?
Yeah, and talking about Daniel Ebenyo Simiyu, you know, he's one athlete that has been very consistent. He has actually competed a number of races this year. He competed during the Nakuru City Half Marathon, where he won the race. He was here at the Kipkeino Classic, and I think looking at all of them, you know, he has been able to do a number of competition, because again, you know, with the 10,000 meters, these athletes, they have few competitions to run, and I think, you know, for Ebenyo, he has in his legs in a competition mood, because he has been doing a number of races. Not so long ago, he was running at the Kipkeino Classic, and he's here today to book at a slot in the World Championships that will be done in Oregon in the next 3 weeks. Right now, we still have 6 athletes in the front, meaning it can be anybody's, and already the pace is picking as they come towards the finish line here. We should be able to have the times, which is around 65, meaning Wahome, they have really pushed the pace right now.
Yes, and with 2 medalists from the World Under 18 Championships of 2017, Stanley Mboro Waithaka and Edward Zakayo, still in the fray, looking for those slots. Stanley Waithaka started off as a 5,000 meter runner, was expected, you know, together with Selemon Barega and Edward Zakayo, to be a new axis, you know, of speed, as we see one of the officials who's out there helping the athletes hydrate, sent sprawling on the tartan track. But just take a look at Kipruto now as he spreads this field out. There is Mateko, who's also there, Zakayo, and look at that increase of speed suddenly that has come in there. Remember that these athletes now coming, they just got over 2.5 kilometers of running to go. Look at Kipruto, who is Kibiwot Kandia is at the front. Ebenyo Simiyu currently in second place. Kipruto is locked in there too. So, and also Ronek Kwemoy Zakayo is 5th overall. And
yeah, and having Ebenyo, you know, deciding to hydrate, because like yesterday, you know, in the 10,000 meters women, we were not able to see these athletes being given water for hydration, and I think it's a good thing for them to be able to be given some drinking water as they move. And again, you know, the weather here is changing, Wahome, becoming hot and cool, and when it is hot, at least these athletes need to hydrate. Therefore, again, in contention, we still have Zakayo and Ebenyo. They are in the front, trying to push, because what happened here is that, you know, each of these athletes need to make sure that at least they are in a better position, about 2 or 3 laps to go, so that they can be able to kick.
Well, actually, we'll be talking about 2,000 meters to go, and they're still there. Mateko in the spandex kit. We've got Ronex Kipruto now running on the outside as he tries to move forward. Kibiwot Kandia is on the inside. We've got Ebenyo Simiyu and Mboro Waithaka and Edward Zakayo. Those are the 6 athletes who are right at the front. But look at Mateko hitting the front now. With,
you know what is happening, Wahome, with Ebenyo, because, you know, he's going behind and then he goes in front. You know, that is one way of that an athlete can get tired. But again, you know, Ebenyo is in a shape of his own, and I think that is why he's able to sometimes move behind, then run in front again. But this is a situation whereby, as a professional athlete, you get tired because you're doing too much fartlek, and this is a 10,000, which has had a very consistent pace from the beginning. All these athletes, the pace has been moving from 65 to 67, and right now they looks like they are pushing to around 65 as they come to 2,000 mark. The last 2,000 marks to go. Less than 2,000. 4 laps to go.
Yes, and certainly there's some change of the way the pace is. And look at athletes being lapped, still huddled together with 1,600 meters to go. So this is yet a race that is to be decided. And looking at Daniel Ebenyo-Simiyu, the African silver medalist at Mauritius 2022 in the 5,000 meters, and looked at as a 5K specialist 13:10. And when you look at Stanley Waidaka, under 20 silver medalist, he was 4th at the Agnes Tirop cross country earlier this year, and at the moment he's holding on to that 4th place. It would be great to see what his recovery from injury has been, and the one person everyone wants to talk about, Rolex. What had he do, and can he push these people out? And now they've got 1,200 meters to go. Mateko at the front. Rolex Ruto is also there. Moi. And slowly, no one wants to be dropped. Ebenyo-Simiyu holding on. Kibiwot Kandie, former world record holder in the half marathon. He clocked 57:32. That went too. But look at how the cadence is happening, because you can see now it looks like it is between Ebenyo, Mateko, and
Kandie.
And Kandie but Kandie is at the moment. Edward Zakayo makes a surge forward, trying to close the gap, as now we've got 1 kilometer to go, 25:06 on the clock. Look at Zakayo slowly making his way forward, and just taking a look at the other athletes, all starting to look like they're tracking back. Could there be a tactic? What's the best way to make this final run?
And I think, Wahome, we are going to see another finish like the 1,500 meters, because when you have 5-6 athletes in front, all of them have the potential to win this race, but 2 laps to go. We know very well that these athletes will be making a move in the last lap for them to be able to have a chance. And again, all these athletes, they know each other. They have been competing together. Already we have, I think that must be Kandie trying to make a move at about 600 meters to go, trying to break away, and all the other athletes are following them. And I think so far it looks like Zakayo, Mateko and Ebenyo are in front. They are trying to push with 500 meters to go.
Well, now there's a change at the front, and Stanley Mboro is there, Mateko is second, and look at Daniel Ebenyo-Simiyu. So he's going to be right at the front as they hit the bell. 26:35 is the time. So Waidaka is on the front, Mateko, Simiyu, Zakayo, Ronex, and Kandie have been dropped. So it's a final 300 meters. It all comes down to who's got the best kick in this field. Look at Ebenyo as Edward Zakayo, as Stanley Mboro Waidaka with the afterburners now. 250 meters to go. Look at the afterburners coming in from Zaka, and just behind him is Mateko. And Waidaka has taken off. But take a look at this. This is Kibiwot Kandie. He's got 1 lane start. This is going to be a dramatic finish to the 10,000 meters. Kandie has taken that bend. He's gone past Waidaka. And Waidaka tries to go for that. Goes down again, he's up again. But look at Kandie. He is on room. Look at Kandie. And he wins this. 27:33. Waidaka second. And Mateko third. Zakayo fourth. What a race, and what a finish that has been. 27:33.57.
Wow, it is so amazing for Zakayo that he has decided to come from behind in around number 3 at the bend, 200 meters to go, and was able to push and be able to overtake Mateko, Waidaka, and being able to win the race at 27:33 seconds, meaning he has qualified. He has a qualification time, as you can see, is 27:28. But before he has been able to qualify, he has a qualifying time before coming here, and he just needed Wahome to book a slot in terms of position. And I think, you know, in the bend, he was able to move 200 meters, as you can see from there. That's a blistering kick, Wahome.
And this is for a person who went and shocked Jeffrey Kamoror at the National Cross Country Championships. Former world half marathon record holder. He's clocked 57:23, and in the little half marathon he was second. And remember, he won the Road to Winners 10K. Kibi Kandie, he is the champion, and he is now trackside. And let us hear from Kibi Kandie as he speaks to Bernard Okumu.
So, Mike, sir. Kandie. Kandie. No, Kandie. You guys know. 5-4, Kandie. 5-4, 5-4. Can show. And Q. Yes, Kandie, congratulations for the win. You had to come from behind in the last lap. How was the race?
I can say the race for today, it is very humid because it is, you see at the sky, it is very clear. So the sun is very hot, and it does give us a hard time to try to push the pace, at least to come to the right time. But to my winning, I can say I've did my best. And that is what I've produced.
And what do you expect for you at the World Championship and Commonwealth Games?
At the World Championship, I'll fight very hard at least to have the gold medal, because as you see, it has been very long time for Kenya to have a medal in 10,000.
How does that make you feel?
I'm very happy and grateful that I have defeated the stars. On my side, I can say for sure I trained well, and the results has come out.
Okay, thank you, and all the best, Kandie.
Thank you.
You guys,
come up. Yeah. Deno, songa kidogo. Mateko, congratulations for clinching one of the slots to the World Championship as well as the Commonwealth Games. Tell me, how was the race? Because towards the last lap, that's when the kick had to decide.
Yeah. The race was tough. As you witnessed in the track, those last 2 laps was tough. So we had to try our own best to make sure that we make the team.
Na labda kukimbia na wale Kandia alikuwa hapo mbele na kisha Mburu na wewe, labda mlikuwa mnawasiliana, labda mnapanga gani?
Hatukuwa tumewasiliana. Anybody comes here with this own mission, so akitaka kumake Kenya team. So kenye nimatuonesha nao ni hii team yenye tumemake.
Na labda wewe nini ambacho kimekuwezesha kushinda?
Nilikuwa nimeprepare vizuri. Yeah, it was my mind. Nilikuwa najiambia I've also make Kenya team at least to represent my country. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mateke, and all the best. Yes, Mburu, you were in front for most part of the race towards the last 5 laps. Tell me, how was it for you today?
It was a game plan with my coach. Yesterday I missed the 5,000. For those final laps, I made some mistake. So today I had the focus on those last laps, so that I can see how I'm gonna perform.
And what are your expectations in Commonwealth and World Championship?
I expect to do good. We know we work as a team, and I know we'll perform better when we go to Oregon.
Okay, thank you so much, Oidaka, and all the best.
Thank you.
Bye.
Keep it up.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much, Okumu. Speaking with the top three in the 5,000 meters, Daniel Mateko, Stanley Wedaka, and Kibiwot Kandie. The next event that we are going to have is the men's 800 meters. And we have quite a huge field here, given that there's going to be double lane allocation. Noah Kibet, who is going to be in lane 1, Festus Lagat and Nicholas Kebene are going to be in lane 2. Lane 3 will have Emmanuel Wanyonyi.
There you have in lane 1 Noah Kibet, Festus Lagat in lane 2, Nicholas Kiblagat in lane 3, Emmanuel Wanyonyi in lane 4, Ferguson Rotich Cheriot in lane 5, and then we have Jonathan Kitilit in lane 6, and we have Cornelius Tuwei, Wycliffe Kanyamal, Andrew, Robbie Collins Kipruto, Michael Saruni, and Elias Nyeng. In that line, we have quite a number of athletes. 800 meters is one of the most watched events here in the country, and I think we are going to be looking at Emmanuel Wanyonyi, who was able to run 1:43 during the Kipkeino Classic, winning here. This is one of the athletes to be able to watch in the absence of the Olympic champion, who was running 400 meters yesterday. So it is to watch about Emmanuel Wanyonyi. Wahome.
So there are the athletes as they're lined up, with Noah Kibet out in lane 1. You've got Festus Lagat in lane 2, and then you've got Nicholas Kebene, who's been marked as 2-1. Emmanuel Wanyonyi is the one in white, just in front of Kebene, who's got the yellow jersey. Ferguson Rotich, the Olympic silver medalist, is lane 4, and next to him is Jonathan Kitilit, who was 6th at the Commonwealth Games in 2018. And in front of Kitilit is Cornelius Tuwei, and you can see Wycliffe Kinyamal right there. He is the defending champion from the Commonwealth Games. You've got Collins Kipruto and Andrew Robbie, who's got that together with Kinyamal in the track. And right now, Collins Kipruto. Then you've got Michael Saruni with the dreadlocks, and Emmanuel Ngeni, and if you, as is being introduced. And if you take a look at this field, you got to look at Collins Kipruto. He won in Ostrava at the Golden Spike, and also you have Michael Saruni. He won the Martin Luther King Jr. Invitational indoors. He's quite an indoor specialist. As we get the start of the 800 meters men, holding back for this, and after that we're going to have the 100 meters. The entry standard for the 800 meters at the World Championships, 145.2, and off they go. A little bit of a starter coming through. And Wilfred, this is your race. You're an Olympic champion over this. You've won a silver at the Worlds at this event. What's the proper race execution as we see an immediate surge forward by Noah Kibet?
Actually, that is the most important part of it. You should be able to break on the other back stretch, for you to make sure that, you're in front. And I can tell you, Wahome, that, the way the race is going, these guys will be crossing at 49 seconds for the first lap, and then I expect 1 minute 16 seconds at the 600 meters. And as they come, what is important here is for you to make sure that you're not going to be boxed, and that is why you have Kibet, already taking the front.
And there you
50-0-0.
Well,
as I said,
you should have
49.
You're a prophet.
Yeah.
And
Noah Kibet, as we know, is a front runner. I hope that he will be able to hold, because remember this, that something very important at 600 meters, you have got to make a move, and we will see what time they will be crossing at 600 meters. And I think already they are at exactly 116.5 at 600 meters. And still Kibet pushing.
Let's see how this goes down. Noah Kibet, the indoors silver medalist, is right at the front, and it's a final 100 meters. But look at the defending champion from the club games. Quickly, Kinyamal has moved forward, wants to defend his title. If look at Emmanuel Wanyonyi coming behind there, and this and Ngeni finishing third, 1:43.55.
Wow, wow.
Wycliffe
wow.
Kinyamal just improved on his season's best. His personal best is 1:43.12 from London in 2018. The Commonwealth Games defending champion clocks 1:43. That is fast. 1:43.55.
That is amazing, because for one to run in altitude, 1:43 is quick. Gibet, who was pacing throughout the race, he was not able to have enough gas as he comes home stretch, and we have Kinyamal coming and pushing at the end to make it 1:43.54.
And Ngeni finishing third just behind Wanyonyi. Elias Ngeni, fifth in Mauritius, third at the Nationals, and we've got the young Wanyonyi there. And 1:43.54. Guess what? Wycliffe Kinyamal is now the second fastest in the world this year. The fastest time is by Max Bargin of Great Britain at the Pavonumi Games, and that was in June, 10 days ago. But here it is, 1:43.54. And second fastest in the world. What a show by Wycliffe Kinyamal.
And I think something very important to mention, Wahome, in 800 meters, what is important is what you are able to do at the home stretch, because that is where most athletes lose the race, and that is why, Wanyonyi has made it, who had ran 1:43 during the Kano Classic, and I think we have the best athletes going to Oregon, 1:43. It means they are on top form as they go to Oregon in the next 21 days. Wahome.
Okay, I know I'll be asking you to come and put this into context, because Wycliffe Kinyamal came in here with a personal best of 1:45.11. But at the moment, trackside, Kinyamal, Ngeni, and Wanyonyi taking their interviews before we move to the women's 100 meters.
On. Yes, Kinyamal, congratulations for the win. How was the race?
The race was good. I'm very happy for the winning. For now, I'm just looking now forward to World Championship. Yeah.
And what do you expect at the World Championship as well as the Commonwealth Games?
For World Championship, I was looking forward for trials. Then now I'm looking forward for World Championship. Then I'm going there. I'm not going there for 2 hours, but I'm going there for. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you.
Kinyamal. Let's say the hub. Sio.
Kiswahili, eh?
Yes, sawa. Wanyonyi, pongezi kwa ushindi Wanyonyi, kwa kumaliza katika nafasi ya pili. Yes, Wanyonyi, songa. Yes, Wanyonyi, labda utambie mbio zilikuwa vipi, ulitarajia hayo matokeo nambari 2?
Yeah, nilitarajia position 2 3. Ndio ilikuwa aim yangu ni kukata team tu. Alafu tukutane mbele. Because si yuko top chef. So nilingangana tu nikate team, then tukimbie vizuri huko mbele. Mungu akipenda.
Nini haswa labda ni nini ambacho kinakukwaza katika wewe kukua katika shape, itakutake nini?
Nilikuja tu kujaribu na kungangana. Kaomba Mungu anisaidie niingie team. Kama kawaida turasi na kuanga namba 2 hapa. Turasi yote hata ya under 20 last year. Nilikuwa namba 2. But naenda kutrain vizuri. Natarajia kuingia any medal for World Championship.
Chini ya ukufunzi wa Janet, labda imekuwa na umuhimu gani katika career yako kufikia sasa?
Janet amenisaidia sana kwa kunitrain, kwa kunipatia motisha. Akaniambia usijali, inaendanga hivyo. Nikakubaliana na yeye.
Okay, asante sana Wanyonyi. Yes, congratulations kwa kumaliza katika top 3. Labda matarajio yako ni yapi katika mashindano ya World Championship na vile vile Commonwealth?
So I was on Africa Championship. I didn't manage to get any medal. I hope this one will get me far. So I hope to go for medal.
Okay, thank you, and all the best again.
Thank you.
Yes, Janet Wanyonyi is doing good. What's your expectations of him at the global stage now?
Actually, he's still young, and I'm so happy because he's really moving to the senior level on a early age. And we really wanted to try the World Championships, and he has made it. I'm really happy because actually I'm his mentor, and we want to maintain the 800 meters in Kenya. Yeah, we want to bring back the 800 meters. That's my aim.
Thank you so much, Janet, and all the best.
Thank you.
Bernard Okumu, they are speaking with Janet Jepkoske, coach to Emmanuel Wanyonyi, and also the winners of those two events. And we're moving to the next event, which is the women's 100-meter final. And in lane 1, we have Beatrice Anyango, personal best time, 12.31 seconds. Caroline Wende of the KDF is in lane 2, 12.38 seconds is her time. Eunice Kadogo is going to be running in lane 3, 11.84 seconds. Monica Zafania, also with a time of 11.84 seconds. Mercy Chebet, 12.14 seconds. And you've got the national record holder, Mats Mila Imali, running in lane 6, 11.26 seconds. Set for the Commonwealth Games if you're to look at the entry standards, but the entry standards for the World Championships are 11.15. Diana Chebet of the National Police Service is going to be in lane 7, 12.30 seconds. Esther Magari, 12.16 seconds in lane 8, and Millicent Ndoro is to run in lane 9. That is the lineup for the women's 100 meters.
Yeah, and we are going to see if anyone will be able to qualify. As Wahome, you have said, the qualifying time is 11 seconds to qualify for the World Championships. And every athlete, whenever they come to the track, the expectation is that to be able to post a very good times. The weather for the 100 meters is going to be very good, and the expectations that we have here is that these athletes will have faster times. Most of the athletes, as we have seen here, are posting personal best, and I wouldn't be surprised, Wahome, when it comes to 100 meters, most of these athletes will be posting their first times.
Well, and just taking a look at some of the ratings that are being given is that they're going to be running into a headwind, minus 2.3 meters per second. So it's going to be a very difficult race. So as we get the athletes getting onto their blocks, run through again of these athletes. Anyango in 1, Mwende 2, Kadogo 3, Savania 4, Chebet 5, Imali 6, Chebet 7, Bagari 8, and Ndoro in 9. The start of the women's 100 meters. And off they go, and already Maximila Imali has made a surge forward, running into this head lead. She's created a gap over everyone. The national record holder goes past the line, 11.19 seconds. She has just set another national record.
Wow. We said a few seconds ago that most of these athletes will be running a personal best, 11.19, just missing qualifying time by 400 of a second. That is amazing.
Just taking a look at her race execution, all alone, so much daylight in between that. Coming in second was Esther Mbagari, clocking 11.55 seconds. That is fast, 0.4 seconds between the winner and the second place athlete. Actually, sorry, Millicent Ndoro, 11.55 seconds. Monica Safania third, 11.75. And there is your winner, Maximila Imali, unstoppable in the sprints, holds the national records in the 200 meters and the 100 meters. Who? Breaking them day by day. 11.19, that would safely guarantee her a slot at the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that is a qualifying time for the Commonwealth Games. But again, as I've said before, that these athletes given a chance being able to run in altitude 11:55. If they were to run in a low altitude, the chances of making the World Championships is very high. And we have Macmillan and we have Monica at 11:75, 11:84. Wahome, most of these athletes, they have done their personal best today.
Well, a lot of exciting athletics that we are seeing here, and athletes coming to clock their personal best, actually all being pulled. We're going to have that, and we know the next race is the men's 100 meters. It is scheduled to start at 20 minutes to 3 East African time, but let's go down and hear from Maximila Imali.
Ovina.
And now we shall be taking a look at the final race of the day. And let's go through this start list that's on your screen. And this includes the history-making 4x100 meter relay quartet and at the African Games. In lane 1, Mike Mokamba. He's got a personal best of 10.77, better known as a 200 meter runner. Moffat Ngari. He's based in the US, 10.53 in lane 2. Boniface Nueresa, 400 meter specialist, opting to try the 100 meters in this race. Dan Kiviazi won a gold in the 4x100 at the African Championships. Samuel Imeta won a gold in the 4x100 meter relay. He's going to be running in lane 5. The person who until last 2 days ago was the fastest man in the world before Fred Carley decided to pull what would be called an Asa for Powell, because he's now set the 3 fastest times in the world, from 9.85 down to 9.83, and then doing sub 9.8, 2 of them in a night. The last time somebody did 2 sub 9.8 was Asa for Powell in 2004, and that was in Rieti. That's a quality. Ferdinand Omanyala, technical, all and still in the top 10. You've got Hesbon Ochieng from Prisons, he's in lane 7, and Stephen Oluoch from the KDF is going to be running in lane 8.
Yeah, and talking about Ferdinand Omolwa Wamanyala, Wahome, is that, you know, he's going now to Oregon with a lot of pressure, knowing that Fred Carley, whom he beat during the Kipkeino Classic here, has already posted the fastest times. He will be under a lot of pressure. But one beautiful thing, Wahome, is that Wamanyala say that I work better when I'm under a lot of pressure. They are not those athletes that if they are under a lot of pressure, you know, they not perform. And for him, he has got to be ready in the next 21 days. Kenyans have been waiting for this race. And I think, you know, as we go to the 100 meters, all Kenyans are glued to their TV to be able to see what is going to happen in this event. Wahome.
All right. As the athletes are being introduced, and there is Dan Mwasike. In lane 5, we've got Samuel Imeta. Second best, 10.43, some 10.27, his personal best time. And now we've got the person who's now ranked 3rd in the world after the US trials, Ferdinand Omanyala. Fred Carley with a 9.76 and a 9.78, and you've got Trayvon Bromell with a 9.81. In lane 7, Hesburn Uchieng of the prison service. In lane 8, Stephen Oluoch is running there. And now let's take so we've got Matt Kangede, who's going to be running in that lane. And it's now time for the start of the men's 100 meters. Ferdinand Omanyala has already met the qualifying time, but what athletes will be looking for is that chance to qualify for the Commonwealth Games in this event. Can Samuel Imeta chase down Omanyala and improve on his time? 10.27. He needs to get into the 10-1s if he is to get a consideration for the club games that will be taking place in Birmingham. The scheduled start for this race is 20 minutes to 3 o'clock. And it just so happens that just some little adjustment had to be made. The athletes still around the bollards that have been set there, and they finally get that call. It is one thing that an athlete doesn't want when there is a breeze. How well can they perform with the headwind that they got? Remember, this is the lineup. You've got Mokamba in 1, Mweresa in 3, Wekesa in 4, Imeta in 5, Omuro in 6, Ochieng in 7, Oluoch in 8, and Kangede in 9. Oh, that's a false start.
That is a false start, and I can tell you, Wahome, this is something that is unfortunate, especially for an athlete, because that will be a disqualification, because there is no room for one false start or a false start at all.
Well, there is only a chance for one, and just taking a look at this, oh, that came in from Hesburn Uchieng. Looks like he in lane. Is this a faulty start or is it a false start? Waiting for the final judge check. And he's been disqualified. In lane 7, Hesburn Uchieng is out of that race. The replay clearly showed that he left too early. I mean, his reaction time is negative. The reaction time required slower than 0.1 of a second. Now they've got to reset the clock as they wait for this. Remember now, this is how they are. Mokamba in 1, Mweresa in 3, Wekesa in 4, Imeta in 5, Omanyala in 6, Oluoch in 8, and Kangede in 9. That is how they have lined themselves up. And after that false start, looks like the clock was running and they've got to reset it and also make sure that they get the wind readings right. Oh yes, the clocks have been reset and they get ready now to take off again. Lane 7, Hesburn Uchieng has been shown the red card, disqualified for a false start. Moffat Ngari was a no-show. the start of the men's 100 meters. And this time they are off, and it is legitimate. And Ferdinand Omanyala upright. He has to get past Imeta as he makes his way towards the finish line. Crosses in 10.04. That is fast, and that is inside, the qualifying time of 10.05. And that means probably that Imeta might just have improved on his personal best. The two fastest men in the country, Ferdinand Omanyala and Samuel Imeta.
And it looks like Imeta had actually pushed Omanyala 50 meters to go, and at least he was able to assist Imeta, probably maybe to run his personal best or at least qualifying time. 10.04, yes. A little bit slower than what he was able to do during the Kipkeino Classic.
And when you take a look at the times that have been clocked, by these athletes, with Mark Kangede 10.59 for Moses was down there, Tyson and for the 10.04 on the clock for Ferdinand Omanyala. That means that Were just might have done well, and a surprise third place finish coming in from a 400-meter specialist in the form of Boniface Mweresa. He has shown some great grit to push himself so much, and with even Tyson, athletes like Tyson Juma, just looking at this frontal shot as saw them running, and for Mweresa giving his best in this, and quite some gap between him and Imeta, the person who did leg two at the African Championships. Those were two gold medalists that he saw. And
yes, Omanyala, you could tell us how was the dash?
Not bad, but the time was not good. But either way, we move forward and look towards the World Championships.
Yeah. What are your expectations at the World Championship?
Running through the heat, semis, and then the finals. Then anything can happen in the finals.
Dabbling in Birmingham and Oregon as well?
I'm just going for the 100 meters in both the championships, but 200 meters later on after the championships.
Okay, Sanjay.
Headwind 2.2 minus 2.2. How does that affect the...
I was expecting a sub 10, but I guess the conditions weren't favorable. But either way, it's still a good time.
And how did that cause an impact on the field? Because it seems like you didn't want everyone to get out of the block very fast.
Yeah, when you're an athlete and you come to a race, you expect anything. So that's part of the things that happens in a race. So no complaints.
The spotlight is in this country. All eyes on you are going to Oregon. How are you going to handle this and the weight of expectations on you?
It's an individual sport, so we're going in no pressure, because when I get to that start line, it's me and the track, so I can't put pressure on myself. Just going there to run and make Kenya proud.
From the US.
Thank you.
What do you think about it?
Yeah, guys are running fast, so it's not going to be a walk in the park. In Oregon, so we have to train for it.
Imeta, hujambo?
Jambo.
Pongezi kwa kumaliza miongoni mwa watatu bora, sio? Yes, Imeta, tuambie labda mbio zilikuwa vipi?
Nashukuru Mungu kwa sababu this is my personal best nimeka leo. Nilikuwa na 10.27, sasa nimeloa to 10.5. So hiyo ndio ilikuwa my target kwa hii finals. Nilikuwa nataka niloe that time so that nikienda hata nje kukimbia ni zidi kuloa time.
Yes. How do you want to build on the momentum that you've established already?
Sasa hii nimeona reaction iko nayo. Enye nilemeni huku mbele. You need strength, so naenda to build on my strength.
Yes. Okay, asante Meta, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, and that is the end of our series of events today Ferdinand Omanyala winning the 100 meters, 10.04. Taking second place was Samuel Limeta, 10.25, an improvement on his personal best. And taking third, 10.46 for Boniface Moresa, with Stephen Oluoch fourth in 10.54 and Mark Kangeda 10.59. So that is a summary of the events of the day. And as per the program that we've had, we shall be waiting for the naming of the team that is going to represent the country at the World Athletics Championships, and after that we shall be also hear the team that has been selected to represent the country at the Commonwealth Games that will be taking part in Birmingham. It will be taking place in Birmingham, England. And your take of the 800 meters, Bungei, because let me come back to you, because that is your specialist event. What was the race execution by Kinyamal like, considering that Kibet had hit the front so early before, that final surge by Wanyonyi and Ngeni?
Well, I think first and foremost, Wahome, is that, it was good to see Chenet Chepkoskei there, whom we know that is a personal trainer for Wanyonyi. And she said that, we are looking at dominating the 800 meters the way we have done from back in 2008. And I think for, looking at Kinyamal, who was able to post 1:43, something that I need to mention, Wahome, is that it is very important for you to have the energy, especially at the last 50 meters. As we can see, Kinyamal was able to overtake Ngeny and Wanyonyi just at the tail end of the race. That is something very important, because sometimes when you see a race that they were able to cross at 50 seconds in 400 meters, it means that the athlete that was going to win was one that was behind. Remember again that we had headwinds as we go towards this race, and therefore it becomes a little bit tough. Wahome, 800 meters is one of the most tactical races that we have in the world. The reason why is that it's neither a sprint nor a long distance run, but at least it's almost a dash throughout the race. And that is why it is very important for any 800 meter runner who wants to win the race to know when is the right time to make a move. Unless you are in a very good form, then you can decide to take a lead from the beginning and be able to. But when you know that your competitors are also very good in kicking and you have been in front, sometimes it becomes a little bit tough. If, for example, Kibet, was in front and maybe be able to push at 49, you have not given a chance to the other athletes for them to catch him up. But again, it is, as I said, it's one of the tactical races. Something that impresses me on this race is the times that they have been able to post. It is very important, Wahome, for an athlete to be ready at the right time as we go towards the World Championships. 21 days before they go to compete, I believe that there is not any athlete that is going to be allowed to compete immediately after this. It means they will all go to the training camp for them to be ready in the next 21 days to perform what we always do as Kenyans.
Okay, and also one of the things that is when you see somebody run 1:43, mid 1:43 at this point of the season, how then do you keep them in the right shape such that they hold on to it going into the World Championships?
Well, I think first and foremost is that they don't need to do more races right now. If Athletics Kenya, I don't know at the moment whether they have any permission for them to be able to compete outside there, but if should they be allowed, the 800 meters to 1500 can only run one competition. That is something that will be very important, because again, they must be in a competition mood as they move to Oregon, because 3 weeks is quite a long time. I believe 400 meters definitely Ferdinand Omanyala I believe will be having maybe one competition before that time, because they must be in a competition mood. I think that is what is very important for Wahome.
All right, yes, that is Wilfred Bungei, and right now we're about to give you a second run of the women's 100 meters. this was won by Maximilian Mali, and it was in another national record. Look at how she's destroyed that field. So powerful, and something that so many sprint coaches would want to see and try work on eventually.
And let me tell you, Wahome, you know, with Maximila, if she had someone to push past, you can see from here, 50 meters to the race, she was already alone, meaning that if there was anybody to push her in the last 30 meters, you know, she would have had a chance still to post. However, we're happy that at least he was able to run a very good time here, proving again that we in Kenya are beginning to have very good athletes in the sprints.
And now this is a rerun of the men's 100 meters with Ferdinand Omanyala taking it. The official time came down to 10.03 seconds. And it is all about that phase, 10.03, with a lot of push coming in from Samuel Imeta, who's currently the second fastest in the country. He had a 10.27 coming into this event, and the wind was on minus 0.3, which means that for Samuel Imeta, what can be done, 10.25, it's a new personal best for him coming into this event. Boniface Mweresa finishing third, 10.46 seconds. How would you rate that for a person whose specialty is the 400 meters?
Actually, you know, I was surprised that to see Mweresa, you know, coming from 400, because if you look the wall over and the events that has been going on, you would find an 100-meter athlete moving to 200, a 200 athlete running to 400, but the athlete you see, Wahome, an athlete who is a 400 meter deciding to come and run in 100 meters. It means Mweresa has trained for it. He has realized that there is a chance in 100 meters as well, because again, posting 10.46 is quite fast, because you can imagine if it was 400 meters, this athlete is a 44 or 43 low, so it means that he, you know, he could be very good. You know, what maybe I would suggest is that if this guy was would plan his athletics, and then maybe his competitions, he can easily do 200, where he can easily run 20 or 19 point something, because by the time that you are at 400 meter and you are coming to 100, the chances of you making very well in the 200 is very high, Wahoma.
And also, as you can see, there is some activity right at the VIP dais, and this is in preparation for the announcement of the team. And all this happening trackside. Remember, there is.
Yeah, I believe that they will be announcing.
Would be time for us to. This time for the presentation of the athletes. So all the athletes have been called to the front of the track, and there are going to be presentations that are going to be made.
Yeah, and I think
because Wilfred, you've seen this, the team naming. What are the jitters that you always get when you're waiting for the AK officials to call out your name?
Yeah, one is that every athlete who is here, Wahome, who came here invited and have come to compete, each one of them is looking for a slot to represent the country during the World Championships. You have come here, you are in top 6. You do not know whether you will have a chance to be either in Team Eugene, which is the World Championships, or Team Commonwealth in Birmingham. And I can tell you, you know, it's a little bit tough because each one of them would like to wear the Kenyan uniform to represent their country, because it is one of those things that makes most athletes be proud of. And that is why when it comes to naming the team, Wahome, it's not something that is so easy. It's not something that despite the fact that you may have whatever position you have gone, but again, at times Athletics Kenya chooses those experienced athletes because they understand what it means when this athletes go and represent the country. So I can tell you it's not an easy time. Yes, you have crossed the line, but unfortunately again, you do not know whether you'll make the team. You do not know, and especially for those athletes that have not had a qualifying time, because we know that in some events, as we were covering Wahome, is that there are few athletes that have had a qualifying time. Now, if you don't have a qualifying, you do not know whether you will be given a chance to go and compete in some of the diamond leagues that we have before the World Championships for you to represent the country. So I guess 100% those athletes that have had already a qualifying time, automatically they will have an automatic slot. But for those who have not qualified, they can be given a chance for them to qualify within the next 21 days. Again, remember this, that World Athletics have the final time or the duration that they are supposed to be. So let's say they may give a chance to the last 2 weeks only, meaning you have got 1 week to qualify if you have not qualified.
So, and also remember, we shall be joining Isaac Lemoka, who's down there. And why don't we allow you to enjoy a little bit of the dance show that is here at the stadium.
Check me out, I'm in the horizon. Coming home, I am coming home. Check me out, I'm in the horizon. Coming home, I am coming home. Now moving your body, coming back, coming back, coming back. Now moving your body, coming back, coming back, coming back. Now moving your body, coming back, coming back, coming back. Now moving your body, coming back, coming back.
Tunakumbusha wanariadha mwarakishe wale tumesema mje hapa. Let's give a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to the dancers. Our chief guest, we now want to name the team for Oregon 2022. The team to the World Athletics Championship, Oregon 2022. To name the team, I want to invite the Chief Administration Officer, Athletics Kenya, Madam Susan Kamau, to name the team. Karibuni.
First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, Margaret Kenyatta, the CS Ministry of Sport, Culture and Heritage, Madam Amina Mohamed, the President of Athletics Kenya, Lieutenant General Retired Jackson Tuwei, the Deputy Governor, Central Bank of Kenya, Madam Sheila Njewe, and all visitors present. It's my honor to read the team that will represent this great nation during the World Athletic Championship that will be held in Oregon. And I'll start with 100 meters men. 100 meters men. When I call your name, please, the team, you move in front. Pandat Omanyara. .400 meters men. Emmanuel Korir. 400 meters hurdles. Moitalel Mpoke. And I will go to 800 meters men. Emmanuel Korir, Wycliffe Kinyamal, Emmanuel Wanyonyi, and Cornelius Tuwei. .1,500 meters men. Timothy Cheriot, Abel Kipsang, Kumari Taki, Charles Cheboy. 3,000 meters men steeplechase, Concestra Kipruto, Abraham Kibiwot, Leonard Beth, and Benjamin Chigen. 5,000 meters men, Nicholas Kipkorir, Jacob Krop, and Daniel Mbonyo. 10,000 meters men, Stanley Waizaka, Daniel Mateiko, and Roger Kwemoi. 20,000 meters walk, Samuel Gazimba, and the marathon team, Barnaba Kiptum, Geoffrey Kamoror, Lawrence Cherono. Karibuni sana. For the men, you can move in front, and I will call the women team. 400 meters handle, Mary Mora. 800 meters women, Mary Mora, Jarinta Mawia, and Naomi Korir. 1,500 meters women, Faith Chebiegon, Winnie Chebet, Edna Jebitok, and Judy Kiyeng. 3,000 meters women, 3,000 meters steeplechase women, Beatrice Chepoet, Jacqueline Chepoet, Celestine Chesfor and Purity Kirui. 5,000 meters women. Beatrice Chebet, Margaret Chelimo, Gloria Kite, and Helen Obiri. 10,000 meters women. Helen Obiri, Shaila Chepkurui, and Margaret Chelimo. 20 kilometers walk women. Emily Ngi. Marathon women. Marathon women. Ruth Chemgetich, Paris Jepchirchir, Angela Tanui, and Judith Jeptum. And that is the team that will represent this great nation during the World Athletic Championship that will be held in Oregon. For teams that have not been read here, if the World Championship will qualify, the names will be read later. And I take this opportunity to ask Mr. Paul Motui, who is the Senior Vice President of Athletics Kenya, to read the names of the officials who will accompany the team during the World Athletic Championship in Oregon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Susan. Excellency, so then what do we do? Sorry, we are told that there are some athletes coming. So, mine is to read the names of the officials who would be accompanying this team to the World Athletics Championship in Oregon. The team manager will be Rono Bunei. Mr. Rono Bunei. Assistant TM, Mr. Ole Nawankas. And the chaperone or assistant team manager, a lady Tekla Sang. And the head coach would be James C. Muizaga. Warm up. Followed by Mr. Stephen Mwaniki, Abdi Kadil, Bernard Ouma, Nazi Chebet Langat, Paul Ereng, Bruce Lati, Boniface Kiren, Patrick Sang, Abraham Kiplimo, Amos Koril, and Nazi Chef Gweni Cheriot Sigay. With those athletes, please, not athletes, but the officials, please move to the team. Thank you.
Mashabiki, tupigie makofi timu ya Oregon, timu ambayo inaenda kuwakilisha taifa. Hiyo bila shaka, mabibi na mabwana, timu ya nchi yetu tunayoipenda, timu ya Kenya ambayo itapeperusha bendera ya taifa kule Oregon katika mashindano ya ulimwengu. Meza kabidhiwa kadi makofi tena mabibi na mabwana kwa timu ya Kenya. Mambo sawa. Bila shaka nasubiri wapigwe picha maridadi kabisa. Wana overall team manager pale kutoka National Police, ambaye bila shaka ni mwenyekiti wa chama cha riadha idara ya taifa ya polisi, Bwana Rono Bunei AIG. Bila shaka kishamaliza kupigwa picha, basi watateremka pande chini ili tuweze kuwashukuru Let's have the officials move back a bit. We have only the team. Tuchukue nafasi zetu officials. Mabibi na mabwana, tupigie timu ya Kenya makofi, timu ambayo itaelekea Oregon kwa mashindano ya riadha ya ulimwengu. Naona dhahabu mingi hapa. Juzi tumeleta dhahabu 10 kutoka Mauritius. So we expect 20 sasa kutoka Birmingham ama kutoka Oregon. Medali za dhahabu kama 20 hivi. Pia Roho amekubali. Ndio mabalozi wetu kule Oregon, Amerika. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Basi onyesheni kadi zenyu. Makofi tena. Shangwe na nderemo kwa timu ya Kenya. Asante sana. Tunaweza rudi nyuma sasa pande hii.
So that is the team that has been named and for the World Athletics Championships that will be taking place in Eugene, Oregon And so they move closer to the VIP dais. And just a quick run through in the men's team: Ferdinand Omanyala in the 100 meters. You also have got Emmanuel Korir in the 400 meters men. Mpoke Nadokila in the 400 meter hurdles. Emmanuel Korir, Timothy Wanyonyi, Cornelius and Cornelius Ruto and Collins Kipruto, all in the 800 meters. Timothy Cheruiyot, the defending champion, is in the 1,500 meters. Abel Kipsang, Kumari Taki, and Cheboy. The 3,000 meters steeplechase has got Conseslus Kipruto, Abraham Kibiward, Leonard Bett and Benjamin Keegan, Nicholas Kimeli, Daniel Ebenyo and Jacob Krop in the 5,000 meters, Stanley Waidaka, Daniel Mateko and Rogers Kwemoi in the 10,000 meters, Samuel Gadimba in the 20-kilometer race walk, and we have got the marathon team of Kamoro Lawrence Cherono. The women's team, 400 meters, we have got Mary Mora, who's going to double in the 400 and the 800 meters. In the 800 meters, Mora is going to be joined by Naomi Korir and also by Jarenta Mawia.
We now amply invite Her Excellency the First Lady, being escorted by the Minister or the Principal Secretary, the Cabinet Secretary, being escorted by the Cabinet Secretary, Ambassador Amina Mohammed, and the President of Athletics Kenya, Colonel Retired Jackson Tuwei, and other distinguished guests. Please humbly come down to inaugurate the team.
Her Excellency the First Lady Margaret Kenyatta, who is the chief guest at today's event, walks down, and she will have an opportunity to greet the members of the World Athletics Championships team, and she is accompanied by the President of Athletics Kenya, Lieutenant General Retired Jackson Tuwei, and the Cabinet Secretary for Sport, Ambassador Dr. Amina Mohammed. And she is going to be introduced to the members of the team that has just been named. So the placards that they are holding read "Next Stop Oregon," as Lieutenant General Retired Tuwei speaks to the athletes. And taking you through that team, we had in the women's 1,500 meters Edna Jabitonk, Judith Kieng, we had Winnie Chebet and Faith Kipyegon. In the 3,000 meter steeplechase, Beatrice Chepkoech. And at the moment, the First Lady stands with the team that has been named for that photo opportunity. So that was General Tuwei. He's taken his photos, and now it is time for the First Lady to have that moment with Team Kenya to Oregon 2022. Remember that the events will take place from the 15th of July to the 24th of July and will be live